listening to the Bomb Hole.
Bomb Hole Podcast.
It's going to be very hot. It's going to be very uncomfortable for everybody.
The Bomb Hole.
We're gonna slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
All right, we're at it again in the booth here at the Bomb Hole, which is presented by Pub Beer and Liquid Death. Now, first of all, Stony Buds, how we doing, my dog?
So good, my dog.
Always love to hear that. Soothes, it's just soothing, you know? It's comforting. Now, to my left, we have Alex Andrews. If you guys are unfamiliar with Alex Andrews, he was a pro snowboarder for Burton for a long time. He eventually transitioned into the grassroots ambassador of Stoke for Burton, where he did a lot of stuff with retail, and then eventually the Burton team manager. And now he has a new job. He is snow product manager for WNDR Alpine, which we will talk about. A couple other quick footnotes we're going to talk about. He is the king of D.I.Y. He built a concrete skate park in his backyard with zero concrete experience, as well as a skate park in the back of our cabin, which we own together. We'll get into all this stuff. It's going to be a fun one. I've known Alex for a long time. It's like a brother to me. Now, Double A, same way. How we doing, my dog? What's going on?
I'm doing so good, dude. I'm really stoked to be here. And fun fact, I was the first one on the show, actually. I walked into your garage after borrowing your truck for something, towing a trailer, and you were out of your mind saying, I'm starting a podcast, come look, and come record. And I recorded with you, and it's been 5 minutes or something, but it was really cool to see where it's at today. You know, you got a whole new zone, and you and Eastone have been killing it. So mad props to both of you, and this is one of the coolest things in snowboarding.
Thank you.
So
appreciate it. Yeah, I kind of want to rewind to that because I totally forgot till off air. You mentioned that before the show, but when we were thinking about starting a podcast, I was trying to figure out the logistics and the camera angles and if it would work, and we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Still don't. And you came over. I'm like, Alex, you got to be my first guest, and we did this like little fake interview. I don't even know if I still have it.
You sent it to me
to
be like, it works. It's gonna work.
And I was like, oh my god, it almost seems like it's a real podcast. And so, congrats for being our first guest and one of our first guests in our new studio.
Yeah,
so.
It's amazing. Like I said, I'm just honestly, I want to start out with just saying, like, seriously, congrats to both of you guys because this is super cool, and you threw something at the wall and it's sticking, and it's rad to see, and so I'm honored to be a part of it. I mean, there's been so many amazing people in this chair, so thank you.
Appreciate it, and I think that throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks is probably going to be a theme during this episode because we've both done that a lot. But before we get into all that stuff, I think we should rewind it to your Ogden roots and just kind of paint us a picture of where you're from and what it looked like growing up as a snowboarder from Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, so Ogden is 30 minutes north of Salt Lake City, and it's an amazing place. I grew up there. I'm an only child. My parents both snowboarded, which was rare, and I started snowboarding at 6. I never skied. I didn't really go to the resort a ton. My parents worked. My dad owned a lawnmower shop, and so I did a lot of backyard boarding
Let's give your parents a quick air horn.
Yeah. Chris and Maureen.
They rule.
Yeah, they're honestly my best friends, so that's pretty awesome to say. But yeah, I think growing up in Ogden, Utah, I was a little isolated from the snowboard scene, and so the backyard boarding was more attainable, and I was like the kid that would go to the resort like 4 times a year, and that was like an amazing experience, so a lot of going to the hills and hitting jibs and whatnot. But yeah, Ogden's a cool spot. It's got one of the first skate parks built in Utah. Still there, super old, grew up skating there. And it's got a rad culture, but it's definitely like an odd place, I mean, to explain it to the layman's, it was like a drug trafficking zone,
It's a huge drug zone.
Yeah.
It's like meth capital of Utah, I think.
Yeah, and
people are just built a little different from O-Town.
People watching in Ogden is amazing.
Yeah, from going to hit spots and stuff. So growing up around that, you definitely become, I think people think of Utah as like this super clean, nice place, which it is comparatively to a lot of places, but definitely O-Town had some grind to it, you know, some grit. Sorry,
It's a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Did you go to that middle school where they filmed 3 O'Clock High?
No, but I went to Bonneville, and yeah, I mean, it's an amazing place though. You're close to the mountains, and I loved growing up there. But Salt Lake City felt so far away, you know, and just I was the kid that, you know, watched videos and had a local shop, and that was super important in my life.
Can we talk about behind your head? You should hold up. You got a picture of yourself and JP Walker when you're a kid.
Yeah, this
is young Brace face.
This photo is. I don't know where I should put it up.
That'll be on the screen, so you don't need to hold it up.
Well, this photo is at the True Life premiere in Ogden at the Ogden Theater on Washington Boulevard. JP's got a broken arm and his cornrows. I'm really young, but yeah, I had my mom take me there, and it's cool, you know. I don't know, when those guys would come through town or whatever for a premiere, it was just like that's all you thought about, you know, and had to be there. So. Yeah, Ogden's a cool place, and I really think it gave me a lot of who I am today, and drive to want to like be like kind of leave there almost in a way. You know, my parents still live there, and I go there all the time, but it was like this place where I was like, I want to like escape and go to Salt Lake. Salt Lake seemed like this crazy place to go to, you know. So
well, I'd like to kind of throw you under the bus real quick and talk about a basic, I don't know if you call it a hobby, but an interesting skill set you acquired at a young age. Now, you have skateboarding, where your feet are not strapped in. We all know what skateboarding is. And I like to call it snakeboarding, but I believe you call it streetboarding. Can you tell us about this incredible skill set you had at a young age?
Yeah, that's actually really good to explain Ogden. You know,
because that is like, I feel like
that is an Ogden activity.
Yeah, the Ogden is what got you to pick that sport up.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what you see is what you know. And yeah, I at a young age, there's a group of older guys I'd see at the skate park snakeboarding, and I started doing it, and it was a lot like snowboarding. You're strapped in, and you can air and grind and spin.
How do you get speed? You got to swivel around. You got to swivel your feet, right?
You got to wiggle, kind of like
I've never heard it called streetboarding, only snakeboarding.
Yeah, so snakeboards started out as just the bar with the plates and bindings, and the guys that in Ogden actually were like inventors of this.
Really?
Not like the inventors, but they really took it to the next level of hitting handrails and all kinds of stuff. But they eventually made street boards, which were plywood instead of a bar. Like almost like a snowboard, honestly, except for you can wiggle.
You got to wiggle.
But you got to wiggle around.
Wiggle with it.
But I took
Wiggle
that
just
on
a little
because of snowboarding and, you know, a little cross training at a young age, and it was cool. I went to the world champion. This is embarrassing, but I went to the world championships in California at a young age with these guys in a van. I got 12th place. I did a frontside rodeo over a box jump.
Let's go! Wow.
It's pretty funny.
You're at the World Championships of Streetboarding.
Yeah.
AKA snakeboarding.
Popping Todios on the snakeboard.
Todios.
Wiggling his way into the rolling. Just
I'm glad we can get this one out.
Everyone's just wiggling around.
a lot of wiggling happened all over the place.
Eventually, I started bringing my skateboard and snakeboard to the skate park and doing both. And then I quickly realized, you know, that funny thing too. I went to 9th and 9th once when I was young on the street board. I remember seeing Seth Hewitt, and I was like so embarrassed. I was just like, like, you know, I was young. I wasn't embarrassed, but I was just like, oh, he skateboards, you know, like I should maybe skateboard. Yeah,
that's a perfect little full circle,
dude. The guys that do that stuff though, or I don't know if it's still a thing, but
it's gotta still be a thing.
They were gnarly. I'm talking crazy back rodeo 900s on box jumps and vert ramps, and
when you go down on those things, it's not like snow. You're getting destroyed.
Yeah,
destroyed.
So, did it translate into snowboarding? Did it help at all?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe. I don't know. Look at my snowboarding. I don't know if it helped my air awareness as much, but yeah, I think it did. I definitely like skateboarding more, but I also was just really big into BMX. Mm-hmm. You know, BMX was a big part of my childhood. There was dirt jumps by my house, and that's really where I kind of like got into biking too as well. So,
Well, let's fast forward into the trajectory of your snowboarding career. So I know at a young age you rode for Atomic and stuff like that. And I just want to kind of jump ahead into the variety pack days. So your guys' crew, you guys came on the scene hot, put out some sick videos. Tell us about the variety pack days.
Yeah. Variety pack, it's so cool because most of those guys that
Explain who it is, too, for people that aren't familiar.
So Variety Pack was basically our crew of homies that snowboard together, and Eddie Grams became our filmer. Tyler McLeod also was a part of it, and it was rad because, relating to Dustbox, essentially you kind of through snowboarding you meet the right people or friends, and you're trying to do the same thing, and we essentially started filming together and hitting spots. It was really cool that they actually brought me into the crew. It's kind of a funny story how that happened. I met Eddie at a party in Salt Lake City at 16, and he was like, "Oh, you know where it was that Lava Hot Springs down rail, the low one." He's like, "You know where that's at?" I was like, "Yeah, I know where that's at." And the next day I took him there. We got busted, and we ended up going to a rail in Ogden, and that was my first time filming for him. But I didn't know the guys at all, just a little bit cruising around Brighton. So essentially that's how it came together. But yeah, Variety Pack, we were chasing the dream, I know we all wanted to be pro snowboarders, and filming and that whole process was something we enjoyed together. And having the crew was so important. And hearing the Dustbox kids talk about that, it's cool because that's where I came from, and I'm still best friends with most of those guys today, And so it's super important to have that crew. Go ahead.
I was going to say those friendships that are mended, through the bond of filming and battling, and there's a lot of times lifetime long friendships.
Yeah, and we would travel and look up to videos. I mean, the people ahead, not ahead, but we were watching people videos and Videograss and all these things, and super inspired by a lot of local guys too, like Cooley, and so we were chasing that. It was almost like, yeah, we want to do this too, and it was cool because we were going in the backcountry even, and those videos were really, it was a fun time, and going to, I don't know, just you guys know the whole process of going to spots and traveling. It's a blast, and pushing each other, helping each other, and we did that, and a lot of my buddies, Sean Black and some other.
The whole Variety Pack needs a big old area.
Yeah. A lot of my friends from that crew ended up doing awesome stuff, So it's the evolution of how that can go for other people. But yeah.
Well, since we have about 7 zillion bullet points to talk about, I kind of just want to jump right into that kind of breakout moment, or that kind of the moment where things change for you.
This is the most standout moment for me. It's the day that Jeremy Jones cold called me while I was driving. I've always looked up to Jeremy, JP, Seth, the whole Salt Lake crew. I didn't know Jeremy. I was on flow for Burton. Not even really flow, just got boards from the rep. And he literally called me as I was driving. I think Sean Black was with me. We were going to a spot. And I was shaking head to toe. He's like, "Hey, this is Jeremy Jones." And I was just like, "What?" So I pulled over. I didn't say what. I was just like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Pulled over, and he asked me to go on a trip for Burton the next day. And that was by far the moment where I was like, man, Jeremy Jones recognizes me and my snowboarding, and he's stoked on what I'm doing. It was a huge moment. And it was that moment that I was like, okay, I think I can do this snowboarding thing. So that, and I went on the trip, and it was sick. And from there, Jeremy's been such a influence in my life still to this day.
Did you already ride for Burton?
Yeah, I basically worked at a shop in Ogden. In Ogden, I was like a Blindside kid. Blindside, it's not, RIP, it's no longer around, but it was Milo or Blindside kind of. And Blindside was my shop. I had a bunch of mentors there, super cool. Shout out to all those guys that really helped me, brought me under their wing. They're just older friends that would take you snowboarding and whatnot. And that's cool because I think about that now, and I'm 13 and they're 20, And they're like, yeah, hop in the car, come with us, you know.
It's almost a little sketchy.
Yeah, but it's eventually, yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it was for sure. I remember my mom dropped me off one time and like, homie smoking a cigarette out of the car. She's just like, shit. Like,
Yeah, who are you going with?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
But I knew that like being a part of a shop and working at a shop was a huge, a way to get involved in snowboarding and meet the right people. And I enjoyed it too. I loved selling snowboards and that culture and you know, I would even buy the videos for the shop and all those things. But from there, I was snowboarding every day. And Josh Fisher, after Atomic, whatever, Josh Fisher ended up flowing me some boards as just a shop kid. Mm-hmm. And I was filming and, you know, kind of showing him my footage and whatnot. And then he was sending it to Jeremy. And then that's how Jeremy kind of saw my stuff.
Yeah, I was just curious, how does a guy like Jeremy all of a sudden be like, all right, this is who I'm calling. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then just to kind of explain, once Jeremy called you were filming for the Burton Global videos. So it just elevated you from kind of local rep rider. All of a sudden you're on a national global platform.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
No, totally. And to have someone like Jeremy take you under their wing and really show you the ways, it was amazing. And, you know, I still had my crew and would film with my crew, but getting that Jeremy call and then beyond it was kind of funny. He actually didn't go on that trip, and I still didn't even meet him until then he called me to ride motorcycles to Tahoe, and we rode our motor. I met him at a Chevron for the first time ever in the morning on my motorcycle. I had a 600 Shadow.
I remember that thing drive shaft.
Dude, and we rode to Tahoe, and 90 miles an hour, I was just like fully pinned, like just keep up with these guys, like don't bail out, you know. So that was cool. And we went to Tahoe for like a Burton shoot that kind of, it rained and things happened, but it was really cool because I got to spend a lot of time with Jeremy and get to know him without even snowboarding involved.
Beautiful. Well, one common theme of the people that sit in that chair, a lot of them I'm noticing as we've done all these episodes, is that they all tend to have great supportive parents, you know. And your dad, like you said earlier, owned a small engine repair shop, and he's awesome. Chris Andrews, and your mom Maureen is incredible. And you know, what kind of support unit were they for you as a kid? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, my parents are so rad. Major shout out. Like I said, they're still like my best friends. You know, I feel like they're like the people I can tell anything and be myself, and they've always been supportive. My dad, it's cool to talk about because going back to the Ogden thing, my dad owned a lawnmower shop, and, you know, he didn't make a ton of money, you know, but he loved what he did. Like, and I'd work with him, you know, and so I got to like basically see what it's like to just be passionate about what you do and not. It's not that he didn't care about money, but he really loved like the people and the culture that the lawnmower shop had, you know. I mean, and I learned how to like communicate with people and be friendly and hard work, you know. And so, like almost just from watching him, he's honestly probably my biggest inspiration in life. But it's not like he taught me. I just was around it, you know, and that was huge in my life because it drove like passion and like a lust for life without needing things. But their support, to answer your question, was amazing because I was actually talking to my girlfriend about this last night that, you know, trying to be or snowboarding in this activity, you get hurt and shit happens. And when I was young, I got hurt a bunch, many concussions and things like that. And my mom would be like, what are you doing? Are you sure you want to do this? You know? And I remember being like, I want to do this, you know? And from there on, it was like, cool. And they weren't like the people like, oh, let's get you to a snowboard school or whatever. But they supported me in whatever I was doing. They just were down. My mom worked heavily. So there was like contests at Brighton, like the slug games and stuff like that. She'd go, see it in a magazine, be like, I need to be there this date at this time. And she'd drop me off solo. And I'd go, and I remember one time I got third, and I had all this shit, like all this prizes and stuff. She pulled up and was just like, what, you know? And so they were just supportive in the way that it wasn't like, obviously they helped me get things and whatnot, but they also made me work hard for things, you know? My dad would make me work hard for things. And so,
dude, I got to highlight going over for my birthday. We ended up going to your parents' pool, and your dad's like, you want to drive the tractor? And I literally just like dug a hole and like moved a log around in the backyard for fun. That's the kind of guy like, but one thing I got to rewind. And I remember one of the more inspirational things your dad ever said. I was walking into, to paint a picture. It's kind of, it's a lawnmower shop, but it's, in the back, there's just a bunch of lawnmowers getting worked on. It's greasy. It's like a garage. It's not super fancy or at all. It's just kind of a shop,
yeah.
And your dad said to me, he goes, you know what, Chris? He's like, this place may not look special to you, but God damn it, I love this place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, that's fucking inspiring,
Yeah.
dude. Like, homie just loves coming and fucking grinding and turning wrenches, and
Yeah.
it's just cool.
And like I said, it was like, in retrospect, looking back, he loved the people, like the people that come in. It wasn't just like this interaction of like a cell, it was always like a community of people that they come and chat, and that was his way. They were friends, and I learned from that, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I definitely took a lot from that experience. I worked there for a long time and fixing machines and whatever, but yeah, my parents have been and my mom too. My mom is like a really hard worker. She just retired. She worked at Nordstrom's for like 35 years. She grinded for me, and it was hard for her, I know too, because she worked almost 6 days a week, and I'm an only child, and so I was home alone a lot, and I think that was hard for her. But where I grew up in Ogden, we had an awesome space, and my dad with the tractor, I've been driving tractors since I was young. I build snow mounds to drop in and hit a box and whatever.
Kid's nice with the tractor. You see him, he knows how to work the sticks.
Started at a young age.
Oh yeah, I got to get a tractor.
He's nice in the equipment. I've seen him almost roll a skid steer like 40 times, but he'll get busy in one of
Almost
those.
roll one?
Dude, up on the hillside of the cabin, he's getting all rowdy. I'm like, dude, I don't want to have to.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah,
I've gotten sketchy in the tractors before.
Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to roll those things, eh?
Absolutely not. Well, that is, dude. You know what? I want to kind of run this back and kind of hijack this topic for a second, because Gunny came on and he recommended this book Outliers. I picked up Outliers, started reading it, and in the first chapter, the way I interpreted it, they studied this group of Italians that are immigrants that moved to Pennsylvania, and they realized these fuckers aren't dying, dude. They're living super old. And they drink wine. They're not particularly healthy in their diet. There's nothing that's really, and they're studying these people. Why are these people just dying of old age? To give you the cliff notes. And they study people in the surrounding areas. They're all dying of heart disease and natural causes. They're dying earlier than these Italian, this kind of community of Italians that are all living together. And kind of what they discovered after studying these people is that their sense of, the way I interpreted this chapter, is that their sense of community is so strong. Everywhere they go, they stop and they talk in the street. They're friendly with their neighbor. They have 3 generational houses with grandmothers, parents, and then grandkids, So, and essentially what they described is their sense of community is so strong that is the reason why these guys are living so long, because they're living a good life because they have a strong ecosystem of their community. Yeah. And it's just interesting. All I could think about is that when you're talking about your dad loving the people coming into the shop, and just kind of can't really like emphasize, with everybody on their phone thinking they're connecting, but they're in a room by themselves staring at a cell phone. You're not necessarily having that authentic sense of community like we were at certain times and certain periods of our history.
Yeah. And thinking back too is cool because, it's funny. Like, I used to sell riding lawnmowers at the age of like 12, like to like old men, and they totally trusted me. Yeah. Like, I'm like, yeah, it's got this, it's got a cup holder for your beer, it's automatic drive, blah, 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 blah. And thinking back, like, my dad really just taught me how to be personable with people and connect and have fun. And, he's selling lawnmowers, which is, it's funny we're talking about this because it's like the same as snowboards. Like, we're just out there to experience nature and be with our friends and slide down the mountain. And lawnmowers, it's like, you're taking care of your yard and you care about it. And it's like, it's something that you should enjoy doing, and it might sound crazy that my dad just loved owning a lawnmower shop, but there was so much more around it, and
it makes sense.
And yeah, I'm really grateful I feel really grateful for the way I grew up. I wouldn't have it any other way, you know?
Well, I have a guest question from Maureen and Chris Andrews. So here we go.
Hi, Alex. Mom and Dad here, longtime listeners of The Bomb Hole. We have a question for you.
How has growing up an only child shaped you into the person you are today?
And part B of that question, if you should have a child of your own, will they be required to wear a helmet, and will you allow them to jump off of stupid shit? Love you.
Oh my God. I love that my mom probably wrote down that thing so my dad could read it. Oh, that's amazing.
Good people right there.
That's amazing. Growing up as an only child. Yeah, big topic kind of, you know, because growing up in Utah, it's predominantly Mormon, big families, the whole deal, which is amazing. And so where I grew up, I was definitely like a outcast when it came to my family's not religious, and I'm an only child, and 98% of people around me were not that. So yeah, it was an interesting experience, and that's where my family really came in helping me, you know, because I definitely was like a little confused when I was younger, and my mom and dad were just always super real with me, and we were good at communicating and talking to each other. And that's what I'm getting at. I didn't really ever hide shit from my parents, you know, and we were open with each other. And so also I've gotten a lot better at sharing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, any only kid syndrome going on?
Yeah, no, I get that a lot.
There's no way around it.
He's had some
There's
moments,
no way
but
around it.
Yeah, I got some moments, but
there's improvements, a lot of improvements.
yeah, I had a lot of, where I want this to go is that even though I was an only child without brothers or sisters, I had such a strong community of friends, and most of them were older. So like I said, you know, the homies from Blindside and stuff really took me under their wing. And I mean, they would come grab me from my house, and I was young. Like, I didn't have a driver's license, nothing. And they really, like, brought me in. And so I always hung out with older people as a younger kid. And I think that's what also helped me just kind of be who I am today, you know, and a little more confident in situations and things like that. But I'm stoked, and it's made me really cherish my friendships and the people that I love. So being an only child. And then if I was to have a child, the helmet, yeah, I think that's I would probably make him wear a helmet. Yes, the answer is yes, because my mom made me wear a helmet, and for a number of reasons. Like I said, I had tons of concussions when I was younger. So, yeah, I don't wear one currently. It's a choice, but I would probably be a parent that's like, you should wear a helmet. It's a smart idea. And it's a good thing to do.
Part two, would you let him jump off crazy
Oh,
shit?
yeah, of course.
There's no stopping them. So
No.
what are you going to do?
Super down.
Kids are going to be kids.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's time for the pub beer crap shoot. Now, I see you're drinking a delicious pub beer.
Absolutely
correct?
delicious.
How is that thing going down?
Yeah, how is that?
It's smooth. This is a nice. I call them cold kitties.
Oh, you're crushing a cold kitty.
Cold kitties.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many do you think you're going to put down? 15, 16 of those during the
I was going
episode?
to start with one, but we're definitely going to probably put down a sixer.
Okay, love that. Love hearing
It's
that.
pretty drinkable beer, huh?
It's really good.
Really smooth.
Yeah, I haven't had it, I don't think, but it's super good.
You know what? Hashtag cheap fun beer.
It's a cheap fun beer. You're going to enjoy it.
You're right up my alley. You know what I don't like is dark, like IPA.
Me neither.
I'm all about, my dad drinks Natty Light, and so I'm all about just like a good, cheap fun beer.
Heavy, easy swilling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, beautiful. So we have a new segment of the show called the Pub Beer Crap Shoot, where you roll dice, and whatever you land on, you have a number of 2 through 12. Each one of those is a question from the fine people over at Pub Beer. For example, what would your house party entrance song be? Things of that nature. So
I wish we all got a house party entrance song, you know?
You know what?
I haven't been to a house party in a long time.
Me neither, man. Those are always the best, though.
Yeah,
way better than the bar.
The older you get, the less house parties. Like, you know what's nice though is as you get older, when you go to a house
killed
party.
The house party.
Yeah, true. But people like, you know, you're with adults when there's like people start bringing chips and dip and things of that nature. When you're a kid, people just show up with a cube of cold kitties.
Yeah,
yeah.
Any sort of thing that's
There's
going to
no
help,
food.
But
help
all of a
get your
sudden,
mind elevated.
when you get in your 30s, everybody's bringing like, vegetables with dip, and all of a sudden there's, all kinds of, maybe a charcuterie board.
Yeah, charcuterie. I got a beautiful artichoke dip that I brought for you to try out.
That's
with
something to
these
look
pita
forward
chips.
to as you get older. You get charcuterie boards.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what? I kind of lost you.
So you roll
You're
it,
just
whatever
rolling
number
dice.
you land on. We have a thing. You might have to shotgun a beer. You might have to tell us. There's a number of things that you'll land on here.
Questions?
All right. I got like a rolling thing. People hate it, but I'm gonna.
The goon gear is a 6. So what'd you get?
8.
Name one thing that is still on your career bucket list.
Oh, that's a great question. I really okay. So my snowboarding's evolved a bit. I'm more into touring, splitboarding, climbing mountains, surfing earth, riding powder, exploring, blah blah blah. But I still really want to do a back double 10 and a front double 10, just for my own personal.
Oh wow,
personal
love that
thing.
I got a 30-pack of pub beer on it if you get one. So you can hold me to that.
Dude, you better hurry up because it's going to get further and further away.
I know. I had a thing where I'd never done a double backflip, and I love backflips, like my favorite thing to do. And I remember I went up to Brian, I was just like a couple years ago, and I was like, I'm doing a double backflip. And I built this jump in the backcountry, and I did it first try.
Damn.
It wasn't good. Like I kind of.
But you did it.
G'd out on the grab, but I did it, and I just like.
A make's a
I
make.
had one track, and I just left.
Nice. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I was stoked.
It's a big day right there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, one thing we got to talk about. I love this topic more than anything. You are a horrific sleep talker and sleep walker. Let's get into this. It is almost scary.
I love that because I'm the same way.
Oh boy.
I'm going to give you an example. Let me paint a little picture here. So at the cabin, the Freedom Frontier, Alex and I both own it. We have bedrooms that back up to each other, and it's basically paper thin walls. So you can hear a pin drop in this place. So I've heard so many, like, I'm not sure if he's getting mauled by a bear. One time he was trying to crawl out the window, and I thought there was somebody trying to break in. But the most common one, he had bunk beds at one point, and he basically would like pop up in the middle of the night, wail his head on the bed, and like you'd hear this thud, and he'd be like, "God damn it!" Like wake himself up by smacking his head. But yeah, what do you got for us on that topic?
Yeah, that might come from Ogden, actually.
Is that just when you're from Ogden that just happens naturally?
I definitely have. It actually might be a problem I should get looked at, like sleep apnea or something. But it's gotten better these days, I think. Yeah, I have some. Crazy stories of dreams. Sleepwalking, not as much. It's more like waking up, not knowing where I'm at. I'm trapped. I'm trying to break out of something. A lot of times, this one's sleep apnea, but I swallow. Like,
oh yeah,
I'll dream that I swallowed like a razor blade, and it's like stuck in my throat,
Whoa.
and I like can't get out. But I'm like awake. Like I'll be awake, like trying to get it out. And people have to like, calm me down and stuff.
And tell you there's no razor blade in your
Yeah,
throat?
it's the weirdest thing ever.
Wow.
You're like, what the fuck is going on?
But yeah, I've had a couple. Yeah, bunk beds are a no-go anymore for me because I go, like, it's nice because you wake up and you hit your head and you get knocked out. Again.
Yeah,
so
another concussion.
I have to start wearing the full face.
Yeah, Mom, I might have to wear a helmet sleeping now if I'm in a bunk bed.
Yeah, so let's steer clear of the bunk beds.
My wife records my sleep talking, and
No way.
I full on like sold real estate in my sleep and crunched numbers. And my chick was like looking at her phone, crunching the numbers, and I was right. And I'm the worst at numbers. As
No
you know.
way.
And I was like 100% right on the commissions, and
Yeah,
it was insane. Just fully selling houses up in Park City.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've like been on the bed before, working on a motorcycle and oil spilling everywhere, and I'm literally like lights on, like awake, still think that there's oil and parts are moving around.
Like after you wake up, you're still in.
Yeah, like it takes me like a while to come to. Yeah.
Yeah,
wild.
one
I
time
why some of us do this and some don't. It's
I'll tell you, it's great from a spectator standpoint.
I
I
bet.
like Buds when we were in Quebec one time. Woke up and I believe he chugged like a half gallon of milk or milk as he would call it, and then started pounding like a whole thing of grapes.
grapes and milk.
And so milk exactly, and
Milk.
So he basically, and that obviously made him like his stomach upset the next day. And then we had a whole
Dude, it's tough on sleepwalkers,
He like
man.
shit had to throw up and then fell down the stairs. It was a bad day for Buds.
Dude, I'm nervous about your cabin. Those stairs are going to be a problem for a sleepwalker.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he hasn't put a gate up there if he sleepwalks.
Yeah, no, we probably need to do that. Those stairs are a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, let's run back while we're on the trajectory of your career here. Some career highlights. You filmed some incredible video parts with the Burton guys, with Variety Pack. And then let's talk about the Bisc, because I know you won some Biscuits at Burton Rail Days, right?
Yeah.
What are we talking?
Burton Rail Days was dope, by the way. They you were pimped out there. Like dope hotel in what's that place called? Shibuya.
Downtown Tokyo?
Yeah, dude.
That was that contest.
Oh, so sick. I went 2 years, but the year that I got second, I actually was at the Bone Zone like 2 days before, and I wrecked myself on a kink vlog, like full carry down the mountain, whatever. Then I went to Tokyo Rail Days, and I'd never been to a contest where they had people that can massage you and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I was in there, just getting fixed up, and then I really wanted to do well in it. I was like, I like the setup. I went out in the crowd, and I ended up like drinking a few beers and whatnot, just kind of getting loose, I wasn't drunk by any means, but loosened up. And because in practice, I couldn't even snowboard. Like I wasn't even doing, Seb Toots was like rodeoing off the thing and like whatever. Basically, second headphones in, contest on, I don't know. It was one of those moments where I was like, I'm feeling it right now. And it was cool. And I just kept going. And then I looked at the board and I was like, holy shit, I'm in first. And then Darcy Sharp came in and won it, but it was cool. I won $6,000, which it's not.
There's some Biscuits.
Yeah,
That's bisky.
it's not like crazy accolade stuff, but it was fun and really rad to win $6,000 in Tokyo, Japan.
And hanging in Shibuya is like, for the layman, it's like the model district and trendy part of town.
Yeah, and also
it's where you want to be.
Also, at that point in time, I was no longer a Burton rider.
Oh,
yeah.
I was actually like working for him. I kind of slipped my way into that one. I was just like, I really want to go to this thing,
Well, one thing to highlight too is always like, people want to know how I want to know personally, like, how do you do well in events, or how do you get to that place where you ride your best? And like, from what I'm hearing, it's kind of a common theme of like, make sure you're having fun. I feel like it's like a combination of like have fun and try hard.
Yeah.
So it's like you're drinking beers, you're having fun, but then you're trying hard stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I wasn't like partying or anything. I just, get nervous in the contest. I never really did contests, so I was a little nervous, but I was like, I'm in Japan having fun. The setup's sick. Like I'm gonna try to shred this thing, and ended up working out for me. It was cool. And Zach Aller was ripping, and he's a good homie of mine, so it was fun. Zach Hale was there, and riding with those guys is always so fun. So
cool. Well, let's transition into finding a career in snowboarding that isn't a pro snowboarder, because I think that there's a lot of people that love snowboarding, but they're not sure. Okay, like I maybe I don't have what it takes to be on Mark McMorris's level and such, but like they want to be involved in the industry, and you carved the coolest lane ever. That was perfect for yourself. You found the lane that works for you better than any lane, I think.
I really appreciate that. Even coming on this show, someone like Mark and other people have just done so much dope shit. They're amazing athletes, and it's so cool to see. For me, I love snowboarding. I was pushing myself, but I was getting injured, and there is a point where you don't know if this is like, if you're that guy still, and I remember actually you were at my house, we were skating, and I kind of told you that I was transitioning, and you're like, I don't know, like you still got it, and in my head I was like, I do internally want to keep filming and doing these things, but this seems like a good pathway for me to go down. And it was honestly one of the best decisions I ever made, because I essentially got dropped from Burton, which was all good, no hard feelings. But a few weeks later, Downing called me and asked if I wanted to work with him at Burton. And I was still young, so it was a little intimidating, where I felt like I wanted to give more to snowboarding, but at the same time, I thought it would be really cool to have a career in snowboarding beyond actual snowboarding. And so, yeah, I ended up working for Burton, doing a lot of retail, grassroots events. I traveled the world, really the U.S. and Canada, working with core shops and dealers, doing a lot of demos with boards, really just kind of getting people stoked on the brand at a personable level. And I learned that from Dave, just to be yourself and go have fun, and then putting out positive energy and like a lust for life and passion. And I took all that and everything I put into filming and snowboarding, and I put it into getting other people stoked on snowboarding and Burton, whatever it may be. And that was cool because I also learned a lot. It wasn't just like, people call it like Stoke guy, but for me, it was more sharing like the love for snowboarding with these people and being relatable and going out. And like, I'd take 20 dealers to a resort and buy their lift tickets, and we'd go shred and just have a good time, you know. And that really, for the brand, it brought a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it made people attract to the brand, you know, at a personable level, which was cool. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh, that's great. And along those lines, we were talking earlier, and you mentioned that Dave Downing gave you some advice that I think ties in perfectly to this.
Yeah. Dave Downing is one of the biggest influences in my life. He's honestly like another dad to me. Yeah, major shout out with the horn. I need to use that thing more. He took me under his wing and really showed me how to be a part of this industry beyond a professional snowboarder. And he helped me tremendously. Basically, he just told me, like, be yourself, you know, and that was the advice he would always give me when we would go do things, whatever it may be, an event or a demo or clinic. I do a lot of clinics with the reps and things like that. And he was always just like, be yourself. And it sounded simple, but now that I'm looking back at it, it's one of those things that myself, I don't want to sound not humble, but like, I love living in life, and I love this industry we're in, and I'm grateful for it. And so just like being myself and like putting that energy out to people is what really helped kind of shape that path for me beyond snowboarding, like as a profession, you know?
I think that your energy is infectious. So like, you know, that I love that. To me, from an outsider, when you got the job as, I'm going to call it ambassador of Stoke, because that's kind of what it is. And you, for people that don't know you, you're the most, you have a thirst for life. That's like, let's wake up, let's go build a mountain bike jump. Dude, let's go over here. We're going, let's go to the top of that hill. Like there's a thirst for life that's infectious. And, you know, and it totally, that job was just the perfect, like you, through being yourself, you found a position that just kind of matched, it just aligned with your kind of, you know, who you were. And it's such a good transition where you still get to snowboard a lot. You still got to meet with retailers. You still got to, you know, strengthen that community that you've, you know, kind of nourished at a young age through the lawnmower shop. You know, it hit a lot of boxes. I thought it was a cool transition, because life after boarding is a tough one to figure out. Yeah,
it is. And like you said, the community and shops, that was what I mostly focused on, was like your local core shop. And that, to me, was what brought me up. I was a shop rat, you know, hung at the shop every day watching videos and whatnot. So to be older and go to these shops and be a part of them, and it was just full circle for me in what I love about snowboarding and community. And thanks for saying that. What did you say? The infectious or something? But I've thought about it because people have said that to me a lot, and we all go through hard times, you know, some people harder times than others, you know, but I've always tried to just take the positive, you know, as simple as it may be. I'm a dreamer. Like, I love dreaming. And not only dreaming,
that's an understatement.
Not crazy, but actual dreaming of like what could be, or goals or things like that. And I love trying to attain those things and sharing that with people, and and being motivated and stoked around them. I enjoy it. I like curating a fun time for people. It's like even at the cabin, you know, when people come up or they want to go up there, it's like I love in showing them a fun time, you know. And yeah, I don't know, at a young age, I definitely went through some weird times at a young age, but I finally was just like, it's so simple, but like it's the simplest thing, but being in the moment, you know, and you got to plan and you got to take into consideration other things, but I really do try to live in the moment and appreciate the people around me. And I'm a true believer in energy of, you know, what you put out there, you get back. I believe in it, you know, that you put a positive energy out there, you're most likely going to get positive energy back. And sometimes it doesn't always work like that, but for the most part, I would say it's the truth.
And then the evolution of your job over at Burton, then you eventually, well, first thing I want to highlight before we move on to that, we should make sure if people are interested, you and Lauren Brinton, who's the man, you guys worked on a project called Snowboarding Is Not Dead, which I believe lives on Vimeo. And you guys cruised around and highlighted these, you know, you went to local shops and kind of like breathed some fresh air into the snowboard culture. Yeah,
that was so cool because Downing, you know, I told him I had this idea and he was like, let's do it, you know. And so he helped me get that going. I brought on Lauren Brinton, who you said is a good friend of ours and filmer, amazing person. Love you, Lauren. He helped film it, and yeah, we traveled around. My idea was just basically, being from Utah and going to North Carolina, like I didn't realize how sweet the snowboard scene was there, and they have a local shop, and that was new to me, and I just found it so inspiring and cool that I wanted to show the world that like there's places that have these cultures that you wouldn't assume. You know, nowadays it's a little more known, but because so many good riders are coming from some of these places, but at that point in time, it wasn't really the case. You know, you only had one or two. So yeah, going to like one of my favorite ones was going to North Carolina because that's where I met with like Luke Winkleman when he was like this big and rode there, and the people were so cool, and the shop was so cool, edge of the world, and showing people that these places still exist, you know, and you need to support them if you're in the area, and it was a fun project. It was really cool. I did Minnesota, and then we did New England, we did Mount Baker. It was cool, and it was more in depth of, you know, going to shop, filming the owner, having him tell the story and the community. And
so Dave Downing has been kind of a theme of conversation for this point in your life. We happen to have a guest question from the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Downing. Here we go.
Sick.
Hey, what's up, Bombhole? This is Dave Downing. I heard you guys got the Froth puppy, Alex Andrews, in the studio. So Alex, I got a question for you, pal. What's your favorite project you've worked on? I know you're a pretty handy guy, and just want to know what your favorite project or thing you've ever built with your hands. Love you, buddy. Take care.
Dude is so dope. Downing's a man.
Yeah, he rules.
Great question, Downing. Hope you're doing good. He's been fishing a lot. He catches huge tuna. He got a boat. He's crushing life. That homie crushes life.
And he catches waves like none other.
Dude,
right?
Psycho surfer. He's just the best human ever. Favorite project? I mean, I'll just dive into it. It's got to be the Freedom Frontier for sure. Building the skate park in my backyard that you mentioned, which was in Salt Lake City, and I had no idea what I was doing, was a really fun one. But the Freedom Frontier was really like the project. I mean, overall, the skate park was really cool. So that's my favorite project I've probably ever worked on. Mm-hmm. You know, not really having any idea what we're doing, but just going for it. You know, the Freedom Frontier is a really special place to me, and having that with you is really special. And that's my answer for that.
Let's stay on that a little bit, because I think it's a cool thing that we've built. And it was funny, we were both looking for we're both kind of like, we want a space, like a cabin type of space. And I was looking in one area, you were looking in the other. And, you know, we put it together and we're able to basically split it down the middle. And it essentially was the same cost as a car payment. You know, it was totally affordable. So it's not that out of reach for people. I just wanted to highlight, like, you know, like a cheap, like land in the middle of nowhere in a cabin. Like, it's not like buying something in a city. So that was kind of cool. But the skate park, I mean, dude, I love talking about the extreme overconfidence in absolutely nothing. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, but you're just like, oh, we got this. And I remember the first day we're like, all right, we're going to build a skate park. We committed to it. We, you know, at that time in our lives, we had the time. Like, I you know, it was perfect timing.
It was.
You know, and we had 4 months to dedicate to going up there every day and tying rebar. And Alex gets in the tractor. And I'm thinking, we're just going to build a small little skate park. And he pushes the back, you know, it's a horseshoe bowl corner. And then the other end of the park, which is a 6-foot quarter pipe section. And they're very, very far apart. And I remember thinking, holy shit, we are fucking doing this.
Yeah.
You know, it was wild, dude.
Yeah. Freedom Frontier is so cool because going into, you know, want to go down that wormhole?
Which one?
The Freedom
Frontier. Let's go down the wormhole.
Love it. I thought about this before coming on the podcast, but most of us are inspired by other people. Mm-hmm. I would say, like, you know, any of my ideas or things I like to do, they derive from something that I've seen or that I'm inspired by. And the Freedom Frontier started, I would say, like Tim and Hannah Eddy. I saw what they were doing with the Childreness. And I was just so inspired. I was just like, those guys, that is so cool. You know, they got this cabin, or that Foster Huntington dude. He built like a tree house with a skate park, and kind of started to think about things. I was just like, dang, I would love to have some land or something. I don't even know what, just place to go, park a trailer. And I remember I was looking, I ended up, shout out to Pat. He was my realtor. He's dope. But, Patrick, I hit him up and told him, and just kind of started seeing listings. And I had the area, I was looking in up by Powder Mountain in Eden, looking at land, essentially came across this cabin in the land. We started skating, or I went to get the cabin, couldn't get financing because it's a recreational property. So that's the short of the story on that. Started talking to you, we were skating, and I remember you were like, yeah, I'm looking for land. And I was like, me too. And then it just hit me like a brick wall. I was like, dude, we should go up there tomorrow and check. I got this place I've checked out. It's insane. And we went up there, and I'll never forget it. We went up there. It didn't take long. We were both like, dude, this is sick. And then on the way home, it was just like, game on. Like, let's try to figure this out. And, you know, to the people out there listening, like Chris said, these things, like, I know I didn't make a ton of money or anything, but if I'm a dreamer, it's like you just keep digging, trying to figure out a way to make it work. And we were able to get this place. And like you said, it wasn't that crazy, you know, to dive in. And once you have it and you start making the payments, and beyond the money thing, it's worth it. You know, the friends and the family and everyone we've had up there over I think we've had it for like 6 years now. It's just been awesome. You know, to bring all those people together without distraction, because there's no service, and, you know, kind of go back to almost like the old school ways of just hanging out with people. And so, yeah, the skate park, I remember we got the cabin, I had the skate park in the backyard, so we were like, and I just started going for it and had no idea how I was going to pay for that shit. I was like, I can't afford this much concrete, but we're going to start digging. And, yeah, I mean, we kind of went from there, but I don't know if you want me to go down the wormhole.
Well, there's a lot there, but I think there's maybe in the fact of just the like timing of it too. And I think, you know, going up and putting all of your energy towards something, it was incredible too. Because at the time, for me, I was going through a breakup. I was trying to quit drinking, and, you know, one thing during that, right before we started that, I was like I had a drinking problem, I had a drug problem. I was like, I need to fucking quit this shit. And I was like, I'll bet, you know, I was like, Alex, I'll bet you something I can quit drinking for a year. And then we landed on $300. And so, you know, there's a lot of there's a lot of like uncomfortable in your own skin feelings of getting sober and having that like space to, we go up, we grind every day, we'd be covered in dirt, and like there's no cell phone service, and it just was like the best therapy. It was just like, all right, I'm just gonna take all this angst and weird energy, and we're just gonna build this fucking thing and figure it out.
Yeah, and honestly, like, you know, I wanted to say this, but owning that with you, like I you know, I've had some people like, how's it owning something with Chris or whatever, and it's been amazing. Like, you're an amazing person, and we have similar ideas on what we like, and I have no regrets in like the Freedom Frontier and what it is. It's so cool, you know, and so that, you know, our time up there building the skate park and mountain bike stuff, rope tow, it was super fun. And I know, you know, you were in a darker place in your life for sure, and it wasn't like I was betting you like to like piss you off or something. I wanted to help you. I know that you're a prideful
prick. I'm a prick. I thrive off of that prideful competition.
Love competitions. So I was like, I'll bet you can't go sober, and shit, you did it, and it was amazing to see. And I paid you,
and it wasn't just a year. You never had another drink. Right?
Yeah, we're almost 5 years now. So
yeah, and it's been awesome, and it started from.
Give yourself an air horn, buddy.
Yeah, give yourself that super air horn. We haven't done that.
Oh.
We'll save the super air horn. I don't know if
I got a Patreon question for you guys from Brian Latang. You guys did the cabin report, and people were pretty excited about that. And his question is, what are the chances the boys get together for some more episodes of the cabin report in the future?
Great question, Brian.
Go ahead.
I would say it's not out of the question. I mean, you never know. You guys got this going on. It definitely takes time to do those things. I'll tell you that. The years that we did the cabin report, shout out to Lauren. He also filmed that. It was a grind, you know, like in a good way, but it definitely takes work. But yeah, I don't know.
How many of those did you guys put out?
3.
We put 3 episodes out, and then it ended up being a 40, I think, with commercials, or no, a half-hour long show on ABC. X Games World of X.
Sick.
So, you know, it's a funny thing to think about that. It was really fun to conceptualize a show and basically be like, we're building this DIY cabin. Like, this is way more interesting than watching, you know, the stuff I see on HGTV. Like, in my head, I was like, this is gonna go. Like, we're gonna put this out, and then like we're gonna make a TV series. And what I realized quickly going into that, like the amount of back end work of, you know, paying for a filmer the whole time, the amount of hours of footage with Lauren Britton did an incredible job, but there's a lot of moving parts into producing a show. And going back to what you were saying earlier, you know, like throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. Like, we went after it. We made a 3-part web series, and it ended up being a 30-minute TV show. It was awesome how it worked out. But in my head, I was like, we're gonna make a fucking TV show. This is gonna hit, and it didn't hit, and it didn't really hit. Like, it's awesome to know that he liked it, but it didn't get a crazy amount of views. It got some good views, but it wasn't. You know, I thought we were gonna maybe like.
Yeah, it's like the podcast or something. You know, you thought like, we're gonna do this. Like, we're gonna have like.
Well, I think snowboarding and skating is just small, so it's hard. Like, people like him and in our industry loved it, but it's just not the biggest pond out there.
But going back is that, like, you know, we've landed on the podcast now, but we've been throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks for freaking 100 years. You know?
I feel like me and
combined,
Chris
all
like,
3 of us together, probably 100 years.
We've thrown a lot of shit at walls.
Yeah, that's a fun topic, and I don't know, just to rewind to the cabin real quick, but yeah, that place, I don't know, it's just cool to have a space where you can be creative and bring together ideas and people, and I'm really, really proud of that place, honestly. And, you know, it's nothing crazy. You know, you went up yesterday.
I saw it for the first time. It's wonderful, though. It's definitely something really special.
There's rat shit around. There's rattlesnakes.
Definitely rat shit on the windowsills. I think the moment we all left, they come back out and it just turns into Rat City.
Totally.
Partying in there.
Totally.
But there's nothing you're going to do. It's a cabin, man.
There's
rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
Let the snakes in. They might kill the rats.
Yeah. But yeah, building that skate park was like a big undertaking.
I bet, dude. It looks like a skate park you'll find at a city skate park. I mean,
and especially not knowing what you're doing. And
you had a little experience.
Little bit, you know. I mean, Yeah, we did a good job for what it was, for sure. I'm not like mad at it at all, but like,
I mean, shit. Look at Burnside, right? Those guys didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun.
It's fun to me.
It's fun to push yourself and try new things you don't know what you're doing and go for it. And so the skate park was one of those things. And I don't know if you want me to tell a story about how we got the concrete, but we could dive into that.
Yeah, let's get into the story of the concrete. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So we started building the skate park. I had no idea how I was going to pay for this. I was honestly looking at you like I might have to take a loan from you for this thing. And
I had mentally set aside the money. I was like, yep, I know what we're going to spend. This is going to suck.
Our driveway up to the cabin's a little steep and crazy. It has some switchbacks. So I was telling Chris, we need to figure out if a concrete truck can even make it up here. Me and Chris would go up there almost every day during the week, during the summer, to work. So I called Geneva Rock, which is a concrete company here, one of them, and got a hold of the guy. I was like, hey, can you come up here and peep our zone to see if a cement truck can come up? And he's like, yeah, I can drive up. So he came up. Me and Chris we're covered in dust. We're dehydrated, probably talking shit to each other. And
we're welding that coping in the back.
Oh, yeah, welding the coping.
And it's a dirt pit. There's no concrete anywhere. So, continue.
You're just in a big sand pit, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Rattlesnakes.
This guy pulls up, and his name's Eli. He's just like, what? Like, what are you guys doing here? This is so rad. And I'm a little, like, kind of just like, can you tell me if the concrete, he's like, wants to talk about the cabin and the whole thing. I'm like, can the concrete truck come up the driveway? Like, that's all I really want to know. And then we end up talking to him. He's super cool. And, Chris at the time had won the gold medal for X Games Real Snow, Real Street. And so we were kind of talking. And he was like, oh, stoked. And I was like, well, dude, here, like, you think we can get a discount on concrete? And it kind of ended that. It was just like a joke.
One side note, I did show him the pilot to the show. So, So the pilot, he was like, oh, this is going to be
pilot
sick.
To the cabin report.
The pilot to the cabin report. Yeah. So he was like, oh, this is going to be cool. Just continue, though.
Yeah. And so, long story short, he left. He said we needed some steel plates to cover the river zone so the cement truck could make it. All good. And then, he called me or you. I can't remember, but Eli called. We gave him our contact. He called us, and basically, it was super vague. It was just like, hey, order concrete. Like, we'll figure it out at the end.
For a layman like me, what kind of bill would you guys be looking at if you were going to pay for that yourselves?
Probably 25.
Yeah, 20-ish. 20-something.
20 in concrete, which is a lot.
2 duffel bags of loot.
Yeah.
A bunch of biscuits.
That's
2
a lot
bags.
Of biscuits.
Yeah, the one thing I'm gonna just the way I remember it, and this is our memories. But I talked to Rob Pikus, and he was like, "Look, since we do such a big volume of concrete, you can put it on my tab."
Yeah,
and that was so you'll get a cheaper rate. Since Rob Pikus is the owner of Pikus Concrete here in Utah, his kids are into action sports. His kids love skating. They love snowboarding. He loves all that. He loves mountain biking. And we kind of he came up to the cabin. We befriended Rob Pikus.
Yeah,
and so at that point we were.
But the Geneva guys introduced us.
Exactly. Geneva Rock introduced us to their good friend Rob Pikus.
Pikus was going to give you that volume discount.
He was giving us a big volume since he does millions of yards of concrete.
Yeah.
His price per yard is much cheaper than a person that does no volume.
That only
of
does
concrete.
one skate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we ended up pouring the whole thing, not like at sections at a time, but we did it pretty quick once we got the forums up. And major shout out to all the homies that came up and helped.
Yes.
Chip, Z,
Ben Page.
What would you do if the truck couldn't make it up?
Skinner.
Heli that in or what?
We were going to cross that bridge when we got to.
Yeah,
or you stirred and mix it on
we were
going to
get bags of concrete and be there. We'd probably still be working on it right now.
Yeah, still be working on it 6 years later.
We wouldn't have finished it, no.
All right.
Yeah, major shout out to, because, I was telling you this yesterday, Stone, but what's been cool about the cabin is like when you kind of do something like that or you have something, people are down to come and help, and it's awesome, and I really appreciate that community aspect of like, yeah, I'll come up and help. And they might not even know how to work with concrete, but show them a few things and they get stoked. And that's what that really brought together was in the skate park, was having people come up and help and stay the night. It was awesome.
We would play every time the concrete truck showed up. We would put on Led Zeppelin because you could see it from down the road, and it was like our good luck song.
Just let it rip.
Yeah, just Led Zeppelin. I think it was Greatest Hits. Go. You know?
And the truck, like I told you, would show up most of the time at like 6 a.m., like super early, so we'd have to stay the night. And wake up early, but it was epic, like cool mornings, and the truck shows up, and those truck drivers are gnarly, dude. They'll get crazy driving on mountains. They don't
care.
Cool.
They're pretty experienced.
They'll like hang the front wheels like off the deck because all the
they
weight's
know
in
the weight.
back.
The weight's in the back. They know what they're doing with
It's
the load.
super cool. And we ended up, because we were pouring so much, we ended up like kind of getting to know some of the drivers, and
They're so rad.
It's so cool. But yeah, so we finished it on our last day, and we were filming for the X Games cabin report, and Rob Pikus ended up donating the concrete to us, which was insane. So
Send that
major
man an
shout
air
out to Rob for that.
Maybe
And
he maybe gets the super air horn.
yeah, he gets a super one. That's a crazy story, because it's like I never.
Yeah, you never thought that was even coming.
No, I was
And he didn't allude to it.
I remember verbatim the situation is Rob was at the cabin, and I go, Rob, I want to square up with you, and he's like, it's all good. We're gonna take care of the concrete. Yeah. And I remember I had like I was fighting tears back, dude.
Yeah.
It was gnarly.
I bet one got loose.
Yeah,
It was so cool. We ended up, I think, like Chris got him some snowboard stuff, and yeah, it's been pretty cool.
But the one thing I want to highlight on that is the unconditional giving. Like, because a lot of people give with conditions. Well, yeah, I'll give you.
Yeah, they always have something in the back they bring up later.
But it's like he's like not. And what he said verbatim, and this is I just remember this is he said, I don't really need anything from you guys. I just think what you're doing is really cool, and I want to support it.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, what? Like, that was just...
That's true giving right there.
It's true unconditional giving.
A lot of people have these secret things in the back of their mind they're going to want later.
Yeah.
And that just... I think I've tried to carry that forward in my life.
For sure.
After that happens in some ways, you know?
Yeah, and I think, like, with the cabin, I've tried to do that, too. Like, opening it up to people. You know, people want to come up there and hang out. It's like, yeah, like... come enjoy this place with us, you know? I'm not weird about, or you, weird about, like, our friends and family, or, you know, we'll even have people go up there without us to hang out, and I'm all about, like, sharing that place with people because of things like that, like almost unconditional giving. Like, yeah, all good. Like, let's just enjoy this place. That's what it's for.
I'm reading this book right now called The 7 Laws of Spiritual Success, and the third law is about the ebb and flow of giving and taking, mostly about giving, and basically in the world you give, and if basically to get back you got to give, and it's like a whole spiritual flow around.
Yeah.
And if you don't and you only take, you're never going to get any love back from people.
Totally.
And maybe you guys have done that in your lives. You've given, and here it is coming back to you.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah.
Another quick highlight too in that subject is if you think about life and what's important, and fuck it, let's get a little deep for a second.
Yeah.
But you know, like a lot of times we put our myself in, throw me right in there. But like you want things, like we're a consumer culture. You want to buy an item and like that, and then there's some type of degree of happiness associated with a thing. But what I think especially I think with COVID and you know, I think the value of experiences are much higher. The things that you can remember for the rest of your life. Like and it seems to me that you're a person that values experiences tremendously.
Yeah, way over money, that's for sure. Like, I live my life by that, and experiences, and, you know, not putting money first or items or things like that. And the cabin really embodies that. And also just the way I like to live with my friends and family. It's, you know, I love experiences. I've always been that way, and it is something that holds true to who I want to be, you know, for the rest of my life even, or if I have a family or whatever it is. Like, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying this time and experiences that come with it, you know.
That's a great takeaway from that whole, you know, creating spaces and going on trips and making sure you take time for that. Want to change gears real quickly to going back to overconfidence and absolutely no idea what the fuck you're doing, because it's one of my favorite topics. But I've doubted you so many goddamn times where I'm like, what are you doing, dude? This shit's not going to work. Like, and prime example, the lawnmower rope tow. Alex is like, he goes to like Yawgoo Valley or goes to Minnesota. He's like, dude, we need a rope tow. We need a freaking rope tow. We need a goddamn rope tow. Like, this is like, I'm building one. And he has this, Chris Andrews his dad has a lawnmower with only one wheel. So it can't drive. It's useless. But he ends up like welding this freaking mad scientist pulley wheel. And I'm like, this shit is not going to work. Good luck with that. I'm just completely doubting it. We haul it up there on like a 4-wheeler. We throw it on the side of the hill. It's not even our property. We bring a bunch of rails, haul them up there, and then works perfectly. And that's double A in a nutshell. Sometimes it's nutshell. Sometimes it doesn't work, but 90% of the time it actually works when you doubt them.
Yeah, you doubt. You
just gotta go for it, huh?
Yeah, I'm all about trying to do things, that I'm not sure if they're gonna work, but I just go for it.
I mean, in theory, a lawnmower, I guess it's an engine, right?
Yeah,
it's gonna spin.
First of all, I want to just say I love rope tows. After traveling for my job with Burton and stuff, I'd go to the Midwest and East Coast a lot, so riding Trollhagen or Yagoo or whatever. But rope tows are the best. You don't want to strap, constantly snowboarding. They make you a good snowboarder, And so I've always loved rope tows. In Utah, no one has a rope tow, so I never grew up with them, and they really help your snowboarding. Mm-hmm. Long story short, yeah, the lawnmower rope tow, I built this thing. I wasn't sure if it was going to work either, trying to figure out tension and all these things. And then me and my dad actually put it on a hill, on a road. And I tried it out for the first time on a skateboard. And Chris doubted me, and then that thing worked, and then that evolved into we wanted to get more power, because having more people up there. So bought an F100 1975 truck, and we built that one, and then that was too much mustard.
I think shit the bed every 2 minutes.
Yeah, it had too much power.
Hold you too fast and then shit the bed.
It was just like hard to. It had too much friction.
Is this the orange one and the sticker?
Yeah,
I like that sticker though.
Yeah. It worked, but not. The lawnmower was perfect because it was like, it had a good pace to it. It didn't go too fast. It didn't go too slow. It was just great, but it could only haul a couple people. So, yeah, I don't know. We might need to look into a new rope tow at this point.
Yeah, we're working on that with the Tow Pro guys.
We used one right at Bjorn's.
Yep, we're going to.
It looked pretty damn efficient.
Yeah, those are dope.
Shout out to Will Mayo over at
really
Tow Pro.
dope.
He makes an awesome rope tow. We're going to get one for the cabin.
Maybe we'll trade an air horn for a rope.
Yeah.
But on that note, just building things, rope tows, whatever. I've always loved building stuff and kind of taking on projects. So that's been a fun one. Welding, wood, all these things. I love, like me and you, we back to this, like throwing stuff at a wall, and seeing if it sticks. We've done it a lot, and that goes into projects. I like learning new things. I get a ton of ideas, and I'm one of those people that I don't just have the idea and it kind of goes out the window. I actually go forward with the idea even if it doesn't work out, and that's okay. That's how you learn how to fail and try new things. So
let's footnote that, because if you think about, everybody has things in the back of their mind of projects they want to do, whatever. You can elaborate on that however it applies to your life, or I can elaborate on how that applies to my life. And really what holds a lot of people back is the fear of failure, right? Like, I got to get everything in order to make sure it's perfect before I start. Where you are on the full other side of the spectrum of that. You're like, not that you're thinking about failure, but you're like, things aren't going to be perfect in the sense that, like, you don't need every little detail ironed out before you're the kind of guys like, dude, prime example, the rope tow for the truck. I'm like, so how are we going to build this? We had to basically get the rear wheels off the ground and elevate the back end of the truck so the tire would spin, right? And I go, Alex, do you have plans for this? And he pulls out a sticky piece of paper that's about 2-inch by 2-inch sticky paper, and it's like a stick figure thing. And we're at the steel yard buying steel. I'm like, those are your renderings, but it worked. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he doesn't have all of his details in a row. He doesn't have all his ducks in a row. He's like, fuck it, we're gonna go for it and figure it out as we go. And that's a great little lesson to be taken from, like, I don't know how I'm gonna build this shelf, but it's maybe not the best way to do it, but it's a good way to start. Because sometimes you just gotta fucking start.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Where like I'll start something and the first thing might not be it, but you'll see what you need to change or whatever it may be. And I appreciate that. I definitely should be better. I feel like I'd probably be more successful if I actually did plan and learned how to do that. But I just never been that way. And also my dad's not that way, so that's maybe where I learned it. We just kind of go for it.
In the words of McGruber, there's a big difference between winging it and seeing what happens. And let's see what happens.
Yeah, totally. I love that. That's a great
In the
quote.
words of McGruber, just tell me what the fuck.
Yeah.
I got a Patreon question kind of along the lines of do-it-yourself stuff, and it's a little more focused at Chris, actually, but for you to answer it.
Yeah, I love it.
This is from Helen Wade.
Big old air horn, owner of the Stockist in Salt Lake. Great establishment.
Helen Wade.
Check it out.
Who is a better welder, Chris or Mouse? Be honest.
Come on. You know the right answer to
just
this.
kidding.
You know the right
Let's
answer.
be honest.
Well, you know what? It's Mouse for sure. So major shout out to Mouse. That's Helen's husband, as well as one of my best friends, and I also work with him.
Like to agree to disagree on that.
Chris is honestly a good welder, though. Mouse is the ultimate welder, though.
The ultimate.
I actually have Mouse tattooed on me welding.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's that? Speedy Gonzalez.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Or maybe it's the other
Raton?
guy. Raton. But yeah, Mouse's. But Chris, you're a good welder. I mean, Chris is the same way. He likes to take. He's always all those. He routes with the wood and stuff. You've done a lot of cool stuff, and so.
Dude, the chandelier thing at the cabin was impressive. It's looks like a handrail, but yet it holds the light. When
I was coming on here, though, I wanted to try to surprise Chris and do a weld off.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
So I wanted to have like 2 90-degree 2x2 steel, and I wanted Mouse to come in and be the judge.
Wow. That would have been incredible.
Just like a 1 bead on the 90 between me and you. And see
I would still like to have that
thinks.
competition.
Make that float that bead.
Yeah.
Is that a term?
Yeah, that works.
Right.
Yeah,
Dimes,
stacking
dude.
dimes. That's a good
Stacking
weld.
dimes.
That's a good welding
Welding
terminology.
is so fun.
For Alex,
Love
it's more
it.
like a little kid playing with Play-Doh, just like smearing shit all over the.
Smearing the bead around?
It's that or like an ungodly amount of grinder discs.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
That's a good way to hide a
grind
bad
off
weld.
the mess.
Yeah, to grind it down, make it look smooth, like you're a pro.
So we've been kind of hammering on the subject of the cabin, aka the Freedom Frontier. One thing before we move off of it, if you're interested in what we're talking about, you can go on YouTube and look up the Cabin Report. There's three little segments, and good way to kill some time if you're interested. If not, no worries. Now, one thing that happens every time that I go to the cabin and you go to the cabin, I feel like we say the same goddamn thing every single time. And what is that?
Wish I spent more time up here.
Yeah. And why is that? What is the effect that the cabin has on you, you think? Or just nature in general, for that matter?
Again, I don't want to say simple words, but a connection, a connection to nature, being away from your phone. When I'm up there, I don't even know where my phone's at.
Same.
It's gone. I usually can't even find it, or it's left in the car. I usually, up there, you're talking to people. That's what you do. You sit and, sometimes do nothing even,
Stare into a fire.
We're talking about all the activities and things, rope tows, snowboarding, mountain biking, skating, whatever it is. But sometimes we just sit there and rap out, play cards or talk about things. And you don't realize that you're not doing that in your normal life until you go there. It's not that you're not doing it in your normal life, it's that you're distracted. And so it doesn't mean the same thing. It's almost like I remember things better when I'm up there, like situations or people and experiences, because I'm not distracted. And I love that about that place.
Absolutely. And I've always tried to figure out, why is it that when I'm driving home from the cabin, or you could apply the same thing to like going camping in the woods for 3 days, why is it when you're driving home that you just feel so calm and relaxed and just centered, or whatever, crunchy word you want to use to describe that? But I've realized such a huge part of it is, you get into like these mountain towns, or you get into where the cabin is, time slows down.
Yep.
All of a sudden, as soon as you cross into this like cowboy town where it's located, it's basically time just slows down. Everything's moving at a slower pace. Then you get up into the mountains where the cabin is, and your cell phone doesn't work. Now that huge part of that mobile stress device just being useless, forces you to be present. It forces you to not have distractions, emails, phone calls.
Yeah.
And not to sound preachy, and if it does sound preachy, fuck it. But I've just noticed in my experiences, like if you can get rid of that mobile stress devices or go to places where it doesn't work, you have no choice but to either A, have some introspection, B, be present, C, have connection with your friends, and then just that kind of overall effective nature is all just, it's huge, right?
Yeah, and all those things you said is exactly how I feel. The other thing would be improvising. It's fun because you're up there and you don't have access to some things, you know? So whether it's even like cooking or just, I like having to improvise when I'm up there, you know, get
MacGyver on them.
Yeah, get MacGyver. And if something breaks, you kind of got to fix it up some way with what you have, you know, and I like that feeling. And one thing that you said was, you know, time slows down, but in a good way. Like it's a very calm and present. It feels good. And that's the whole reason from the very start of wanting to find some land. And to anyone listening, it's attainable and you can do it. So I don't know. I suggest doing it. It's been a huge piece of my life and your life, brought together so many good people in an authentic way. You know, I did some Burton clinics up there that were super cool, and just having all those people up there to meet and greet, and you're actually connected, you know, and so yeah, that's a cool thing about that's probably the coolest thing about the cabin. Like,
so
take
6
away
years later,
yeah.
Are you guys still going up there with the same excitement as you were?
I am, honestly.
That's exciting.
I think now it's the same excitement. I'm just excited to the next evolution of it, you know, and we've built the skate park and we got some mountain bike stuff, but I'm excited to make it a little more turnkey and you know, we have water. It's kind of in detail, but we have water and I want to make it a little nicer. Doesn't mean like have services, just means like right now our water situation is a little crazy and there's rat shit and whatever. Yeah, you're not going to avoid that, rodents. But yeah, just continue to evolve it, you know. I plan on having it forever, you know, and so I think it'll just continue to be something special that will grow in different ways. And whether that's like building activity things or that's working on the cabin to make it a little nicer for people to stay, or maybe building another thing up there that like a little, I don't know, yurt or something, you know.
So more people can sleep and whatnot.
Yeah.
You said you had 22 people in there once sleeping. That's awesome.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people up there before. So
that's max capacity.
It looks like it only sleeps like maybe you want to do 3, 4 in the chair. If you throw Granger in a chair, maybe 5. But you had 22 people in there.
Granger always gets the chair.
Gets the chair.
Granger gets the chair, and he takes about like a 30-minute nap in 24 hours usually.
And he cooks an absolute beautiful
masterpiece. Yeah, I noticed you guys got 3 Traegers up there.
Yeah, Granger's
ready
for
some output.
Yeah. That's another part of bringing people together. Yeah. And then one other thing, food is a huge facilitator of connection in a lot of ways. But if you go back, one last thing, and we could beat this dead horse for days, but like there's something also about, you know, when you have to make your own heat, you know, like there's a wood burning stove, it's winter, it's cold as shit. You got to keep logs stacked. And you get home, first of all, you got a million ideas staring into a fire. There's something there I can't figure out, but ideas flow like the salmon of the Capistrano when you're looking into that thing. And then you get home and you're like, you just flick your heater on in your house and you're like, God damn, I appreciate this. Whereas when you don't do that for a while, you're like, damn, it's 71 degrees in here. Like you're like mad that it's like not perfectly good temperature, you know? So
I think, and this is not a negative thing, it's just a personal thing, but the most frustrating part about the cabin is what he's talking about. I'll get up there, staring into the fire, and the ideas are crazy. Like, it's just like, I want to do this, I want to do that, at least for me. And I get frustrated because I want more time to do those things. It's more time. Like, I wish I could spend more time up there to, you know, build more things up there and enjoy that place. And we do spend a lot of time up there. I spend a lot more in the winter than in the summer these days. I do go up there in the summer, but the winter is super fun. You can snowmobile and it's just cool, especially when a storm comes in and it starts snowing. You got to shovel the deck, and I just like the wood fire. It's cool. It's cozy, and I enjoy it. But
You guys get cords of wood delivered, or you guys bring it up yourself and stack it?
yeah,
We got a giant cord delivered 3 years ago, and we're just getting to the end of it.
Oh, really?
Chris didn't know. I think it was
3
something
years
longer.
ago.
He ordered something. He thought it was a certain amount, and he didn't realize like a dump truck showed up of wood. It was a.
I like how you call it a giant cord. Like there's a cord's a certain size. Right?
Yeah.
You're all. It's a giant.
I'm
cord.
like, we need a bunch of wood, and then they show up, and I'm like,
10 cords,
$900 worth of wood. I was like, oh, but it's lasted us.
No, it has. It was.
Yeah,
worth
I mean
it.
that's kind of great.
It was definitely worth
but
it.
I'll tell you, I had a great lesson learned from the cabin, and I at one point in my life, I thought, I was making really good money as being a professional snowboarder. I was like, I'm gonna buy a nice truck, and I bought a GMC brand new 1500, and I remember I was stacking that wood because the dump truck couldn't make it up our driveway, so they dumped it at the bottom. So it was about like 10. I don't even know. It was like 8 truckloads.
It was you
of
and
wood.
Ozzy and Scott.
Scotty Arnold, yeah. And I was throwing logs into the bed of my truck, and I was so scared to dent the thing because it was so nice. I realized, like, I don't want a nice truck. I hate having a nice truck.
Yeah.
I want to be able to throw a log at the side of it and dent it. Like, that's what a truck's for. So ever since, like, I bought a nice truck, and I was like, this is not for me. This is stupid. I want to be able to dent this thing with a log. That's what a truck's for. So sometimes just a little lesson there for me was like, dude, I don't need nice shit. I want to be able to destroy my shit.
Yeah, let the dog run around the back inside, and
my dog throws up in the back seat all the time.
No worries.
But that's the same with the cabin. Is I tell people that all the time that I hate to. I'm not talking down on it. It's not that it's not nice.
I felt like it was pretty nice.
It's nice, but it's also a place where like you get muddy boots or mud gets in there. People, water, snow. It's all good.
Nobody
like,
cares.
If we had like some baller spot, like take your shoes off, don't do this, don't do that. That's what's really amazing about that place is it doesn't like have like rules or whatever. It's not we have rules, but you can kind of just let loose and just be there and not be so concerned. And we do. There is rat shit, and one time my lady woke up with a rat on her in bed, which was
on her.
Yeah, which is
wow.
We have rattlesnake debacles. We got all kinds of wildlife. We could keep going,
dude.
but let's
could
change
talk forever.
let's change gears into a favorite of the show. Amen video card.
Love this.
Now, a lot on the line. You got some street cred on the line here.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
This is big for you.
It is. I wonder how you went about this one.
This is
'Cause
honestly.
we didn't even talk about this.
This is huge for you.
He's not going to talk about it in advance with you. I'd give it away.
Yeah, true, but
The whole thing's a surprise. If you don't get this, you might need to tuck tail and leave town.
Yeah.
oh shit.
We might need to shut down the cast early.
Yeah, we might need to shut down the cast if you don't get this one. This could be bad.
Hearts racing, boys.
How's your confidence level 0 through 10?
I'm afraid that I'm gonna like know it but not be able to say it.
I'm afraid for you.
That's
for
a
that.
common thing.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I'm gonna go. Let's just go 5.
Middle
I'll
of the
tell you
road.
what, I'm really, really, really nervous for you right now.
Me
Dude,
too.
I honestly, this is the most nervous I've been talking on this damn thing.
Bead of sweat just formed on your forehead.
Okay, here we go.
Easy, he says.
Say it.
I know who it is. I'm just trying to think of the video really quick. Well, it's Jeremy Jones.
That's correct.
Yeah, I know, but it's not. It is Shakedown.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure. I knew it was Shakedown, but for some reason I thought it was
I'm so glad you got
Queens
that.
of the Stone Age. I'll just name it all.
That would have been
You know,
really
easy.
bad. You got yourself a bomb hole cooler.
Yeah.
Filled with bomb hole merch.
Wow.
The black one.
Dude.
We got some brand new socks in there, which are
What?
now available at bombhole.com.
Dude, this thing is sick.
We have stickers,
Dude,
a hoodie, a new Raiders tank top,
Thank you guys.
mug.
Dude, everyone loves socks. Socks are.
Bomb hole available at bombhole.com. Anybody that has purchased anything from bombhole.com, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. That is huge.
Also, shout out to Igloo. They sent me a cooler that I was pretty stoked on. Like it was a bigger one, but these ones are dope for the old Sixer.
Oh yeah, throw a couple pub beers in there, you'll be good to go.
Nice.
For part 2, you guys know the drill at this point when Alex's episode comes out. If you know what video part this is, comment on the photo on Instagram to get yourself a little prize pack. Okay, here we go. Double A. Don't say it if you know it.
Sick. I know. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. You use that. I like that. Damn, I kind of know my video parts. I feel like. Kind of wish you would have not given me something else.
Made it a little harder on you?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, dude, Jeremy's shakedown part. Let's go, dude. That thing is mental.
If you haven't watched that, make sure you watch it. Jeremy Jones Shakedown, Ender and Mac Dog, a legendary part.
Yeah, psycho.
He does a snowmobile hill climb up a dirt hill.
Yeah.
Personal.
He also hits a double line jump. He does like front 9 to cab 9.
Tony Grove. No, it's like back 5. Or it's a 5 to a cab 9.
Oh, yeah. I like that shot, though.
I think. You know, I think we should maybe dive into a guest question.
Love that.
This is from our boy T-Bone, a.k.a. Trev Brady.
Oh, yes.
Here we go.
What up, B-hole boys? Question for you, Double A. You know, it seems like you've always been about finding deals on KSL or Craigslist, whether it's a motorcycle, a van, a bus, a car, maybe spiffing it up and flipping it for some extra cash. I was wondering if you could walk us through how it started with a lawnmower when you were a kid and ended at your rig today.
Oh, man. Trev Brady, T-Bone, Bone, hit him.
Big, huge help in building out the new office. Him and Mia, Lost in Space, they basically made our whole lobby and absolutely killed it, and they rule in life in general.
Yeah. T-Bone is literally salt of the earth person, human being. He is the best human friend you could ask for. So major shout out to T-Bone. Thanks for the question. Oh boy, yeah, that's been the long joke is that I flipped a lawnmower into like a sprinter van.
Huh?
Yeah, I love a good deal. You know, I look at KSL or Craigslist multiple times a day. I have like certain searches I look for, and it's always changing. Whether it might soon be a stand-up jet ski, or it could be a bunch of random stuff. But yeah, he wanted me to walk you through to what I am. Yeah, so started out with lawnmower. Like I was telling you, used to sell lawnmowers to guys and whatnot, and then.
You got like 40 vehicles. We don't need to go through
Yeah, we don't need to go through them all, but
we don't need to play by play on all 40.
But yeah, I
know there was a bus involved.
Dude,
Yep.
Honestly, we could go through so many. We're not going to. I promise we'd be here a long time. But I really enjoy it, and it's fun. I mean, I had like 4 Astro vans, you know. I used to buy those things and flip them. So yeah, it's something I still do to this day. I enjoy it. But now I got a Sprinter van. Give me a shout out. Come on.
He's not a big Sprinter van guy.
Although, thank you for having that. It gives us something to make fun of on the show.
Is that your only rig, or you got?
No, that's not my only rig right now. I just bought a dump truck. Yeah,
classic.
A dump truck and a Sprinter van.
Bought a dump truck. I have a 1968 Dodge A100 van that's like kind of Scooby-Dooed out.
Dope.
Yeah, the dump truck's that thing's insane.
What are you doing with a dump truck?
He needed to move some rocks, so he bought a dump truck.
He bought one.
Dude, let me give you from outsider standpoint of this guy's. So he talks about being present. Now there's being present to the point of extreme impulsiveness, and that's when you have Alex Andrews. Okay, so what happens is he's like, well, shit, I need a. Let's say he had this Ford diesel that was a complete piece of shit he bought because he wanted to tow some equipment or something like that. Who knows? I don't even remember why he bought it. He buys this Ford piece of shit diesel. He's like, dude, it's like $3,000 or something, and it's like. And I'm thinking like that seems way underpriced, and it looks like he ends up buying it. And what he does is he gets this thing, he basically cleans the whole thing out, throws some like black spray paint on the wheels, armor all the tires, and then sells it for $2,000 more after he owned it for like a month or two.
I will say I don't think I've ever lost on a vehicle,
dude.
Which is crazy. Most people lose the second they drive.
I'll tell you, you find a deal, you get yourself a can of Armor All. And shine up some tires, and then you got yourself an Alex Andrews re-up.
Dude, especially here in Salt Lake or Utah, people are selling. Dude, if I had loot, that's where I'd be. I'd be on KSL buying dope.
Buying and selling.
Yeah.
People in Salt Lake have some loot, so maybe they sell, so they don't really care.
Sometimes people don't know what they have here, you know? And, Lost in Space is a great example of that. I mean, you got Mia going around and buying awesome furniture, and stoked for them because the stuff they're getting is amazing. And so, anyways, the point is that I really enjoy it. It's fun. I don't know why. I think the back to the lawnmower shop, the old wheel and deal.
That's built into you from your dad.
Yeah.
I figured it out because I realized this the same way with if it comes to dirt bikes or campers. And I think Leah asked me one time, she's like, are you ever going to be happy with your camper or whatever? Like, because it's been like an evolution always, right? And I realized it's the thrill of the hunt.
Oh, yeah.
It's the thrill of the hunt. Like, 100%. You're never going to get there. You're never like, I have the thing. It's like, but the wheeling and dealing, the thrill of the hunt, the like look, the search, all of that. It's some people like it, some people don't. I personally love it.
It's funny you say that because I just came back from Montana from a 10-day trip in my new van, the Sprinter that I built out, and I got back and I'm tearing the whole thing apart.
Classic.
It's just like, it's sick, but I'm like, all right, like next evolution of what I got to rebuild this thing. I don't know. It's never ending.
You got to see the Froth puppy with his van. He's like, his favorite thing in the world is show and tell. So you've experienced it yesterday.
I just experienced it yesterday, and it was great.
So for those of you guys who don't know the Froth puppy, I'm sure a lot of the listeners have experienced AA show and tell. But he'll go up to the cabin. He's going to show you every little detail of it. I got this chair for $20. Oh my God, this is a rattlesnake. This is that. The van. He just installed a new shower, and like he brings everybody. Dude, you got to see the new shower.
I got the tour yesterday.
And he turns the shower on. And it's like, dude. Nobody's asking to see the shower, for the record. Nobody wants to see the shower, but he's gonna make sure you see the shower. That's just AA show and tell. Look at my stuff.
Yeah,
it's a game changer in a 10-day trip, is what I learned yesterday.
Yeah. Maybe that's the only child syndrome I got there. Was the old show and tell.
Yeah, I grew up with a brother and a sister to show stuff to. I didn't even have to talk about it. We just fought over it. You never had that.
I'd have to have like a house party to do a show and tell. Bring everyone over,
get it all done in one swoop, just like a museum tour with like a host kind of thing. You know?
I love the battle of the campers.
Let's talk about
I like
this.
that you're on. It seems like you've been kind of hiding like what you want to do next. Like
I got something in the works.
I know.
I got something big in the works.
But like I hear, it's like little birds.
You hear
talking.
whispers? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the Sprinter van for dirt bike camping purposes, functionally, is a great vehicle.
Oh my!
But the people that drive them, I just can't stand. So what I've laid it on, they're too popular. There's too many granola eaters out there with the mountain die cuts on the side. And they're just, you see yuppies everywhere in these Sprinter vans. And I just love making fun of them too much. And I've looked at them like, God damn it, that would be great.
They're pretty great.
But dude. I'm on some, like, I'm too much of a stubborn prick to ever do this. So I'm basically building a cab camper that's essentially, it's on a truck, so I don't have to. I can put a big old one less Sprinter sticker on the back, and I can continue to make fun of these assholes.
Are they making those stickers?
Yeah, Mouse has one on the back of his rig.
One less Sprinter.
Yeah, the whole camp rig thing is. I mean, I won't lie. There are a lot of Sprinters out there. But
there's like 10 in my neighborhood that never leave the driveway. And I see them at Sevi, and I'm like, I never see this beyond Sevi or their street, and I think they just go to Sevi, show it off, go back home.
Yeah. Well, if you're listening, to me, it's been the best vehicle I've ever owned. I mean, you stand up in it, insulate them, heater, 4-wheel drive.
He'll show you all this stuff too. If you see him, flag him down. He'll
you want me to sell you right now? I'll sell you, and I don't care who has them. I love it. The thing, I had a truck before. I had a Raptor, which was so sick, and I could rally the shit out of that thing. But
3 miles a gallon.
Sprinter, yeah, I did get terrible gas mileage, but the Sprinter, you drive a little slower, you cruise, it rattles a little bit, but you can carry a lot of shit in there. And I like to carry a lot of shit. Surfboards, skateboards, mountain bikes, dirt bikes, girlfriend, all her stuff, your stuff,
I feel like they're pretty comfortable for the girlfriends, too. They're pretty nice.
I mean,
you guys need
I told you on the shower.
You guys need to simmer down on this.
Dude, I don't know. I've gotten a lot of tours with Smoking Jays, and the chairs turn around, his dog's in the back all comfortable. It just seems like a good life.
Usually when you're that one, there's usually a couple other things going on.
That make it a good time.
But you might be a little bit inebriated to where you're kind of not judgment is not
don't go
properly.
through the drawers in that thing.
So one thing the only solution I found, because I hate the assholes that drive these things so much, is the only way I think it would work for me. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to say it again if you haven't heard it. the only solution that would ever work for me is I'd buy a Sprinter, keep the wheels bone stock, and then I would get a ladder, put it on the roof, get some like plumbing, like tie it down on the roof, and then get a big old like Jim's plumbing die cut for the whole side. So you're like, wait, what the hell is this contractor doing way out here in the middle of nowhere? And then you don't look like a granola eater, and you're able to roll your dirt bike in and have a bed.
Meanwhile, Grundy's is in that doing yoga and eating granola.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, like literally, I am a granola eater. So throw me in there too.
Well, that's a great topic.
What's wrong with like the camper, just a traditional camper that you drive, the mini ones?
A lot of them don't have 4-wheel drive.
That's an issue.
They just came out with one, but it has all-wheel. But yeah, they're big. They're big. The thing with the truck camper, I like them, just not for the activities I like to do. What's funny is Chris talks about the Sprinters as a granola rock climber vehicle, but what's crazy is I feel like the camper on the back of the truck is perfect for the rock climber granola person because you don't have to carry a bunch of. Because
they got ropes and shit. They're doing rock climbing.
Yeah. But I'm saying like the Sprinter, you can actually like put surfboards on top or like whatever. In the camper, like they're in on the bed, stuff's in on the bed. They're like the camper's full. You like get to your spot, you got to open up. Things are like flying out to even get inside. The Sprinter, you're kind of just
living in it.
Yeah.
Isn't Airstream dropping a Sprinter style?
I don't know.
I heard that just last week actually, and it's probably gonna be dope.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love Chris's setup. It's dope, but I love
making fun of Sprinters. All right, let's change gears here. So another thing we got to talk about is the Froth pond. The beginning of D.I.Y. AA, same way. You basically got a skid steer, and you're like, I'm going to build a skate park in my backyard. You started just moving dirt around, and he ended up having the sickest backyard bowl ever. And again, I was like, there's no way this is going to work.
Nor did I. And that might have caused a divorce. So, I don't know. The Froth pond. So, bought my first house in Salt Lake. And again, super inspired by some people building concrete stuff in their backyard that I saw. And at the time, I was going through a little rough patch with the ex-wife, and we broke up. I just was like, all right. I had actually drawn it up on a computer, what I wanted to build in the backyard, and I called Cheeseburger, shout out. Homie dropped off a skid steer, and I still was living with my lady at this point, but we were just having a rough patch, and I literally dug up the whole backyard in a day with the skid steer. Full tranny of dirt, like the whole thing. My neighbor came over, saw me, and yeah, I mean, at this point in time, not very many people had poured concrete in their backyard, handful of people. So I really didn't know what I was doing and went for it, and that's essentially, I mean, it was super cool. It was a really rad experience, and me and the lady at that point in time ended up working it out, my ex-lady. But, yeah, the skate park ended up in the back, it took up the whole backyard, basically. Mm-hmm. But that was cool because had so many people over skating and learned a lot from that. Had a ton of help from Ben Page and Zamora, Chip, you. So many friends helped out. And that was a cool experience and just like a testament that you don't always have to know what you're doing, but you just go for it, kind of. Mm-hmm. And learn along the way. And there was a lot of things I had to change during that. I'd do something and then be like, okay, no, that's not how it works, and redo it. So. And
you've since then sold your house, and how did that affect the resale value
I was just
of your house?
I was thinking that. How did that affect?
Yeah, that's a big topic.
It's no bueno, huh?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. I went to sell the house. That's a different story, but my realtor, he's like, let's just be right up front about it, like skate park in the back, And I was like, yep. And actually, Jeremy at the time took the drone photos and whatnot. But yeah, I ended up selling it, and I sold it to a younger couple. I was stoked, and it was fine. Honestly, it wasn't that
crazy. They have plans to wreck the park, or they were hyped? They were going to keep it.
It's still there, and they kept it. And they weren't like avid skateboarders, I wouldn't say, but they did skate. They do skate it, and I see that they skate it, and people go over there, and yeah. So
SLC market, pretty much.
But I think
gonna sell.
it's true. Anything's going to sell, but also it's like Alex built a skate park in his backyard and sold his house just fine. So it's like, I think that's a big argument.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people.
Is that a big worry people have?
People were doubting me for sure on that. And I was like, no, it'll make it worth more money, you know?
It probably just, like, even they say swimming pools don't affect your value.
Yeah, it was one of those
probably
things.
Probably a similar thing. Because, you know, $10,000, you can pull that thing out.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, realistically, it's not that crazy to break out and get rid of. So if you really wanted to, you could.
Okay, another topic. We've been on D.I.Y, and this kind of falls into D.I.Y as well, but up at Brighton, it didn't start at Brighton, but there's a zone called the Bone Zone. Now, you are one of the chairmen of the unofficial board of the Bone Zone. You know, yourself, Ted Borland. I've had a small impact on that place, but you guys were kind of the gatekeepers for a long time amongst some other people. Now, let's just talk about the Bone Zone, what it is, where it came from, and how it's kind of shaped early season snowboarding.
Yeah. By the way, you didn't have a small impact on that place. Yeah, Bone Zone. It was, again, back to being influenced. You know, Jeremy and JP had the spot, and that was like a place. You know, at that point in time, you didn't go there.
It's very private.
Yeah,
and the spot is a training facility in the woods with a bunch of rails.
Yeah, early season.
Yep.
Up in Guardsman's Pass next to Brighton. And back in the day when it would snow early season, go up there and bring rails or whatever. Well, it started out with some rails, and then we started using logs and whatnot. And it actually moved from different zones to other zones, kind of to avoid the Forest Service. But ultimately became like a thing where people expected, like, we're gonna go up there early season and train, and it was cool. And me and Ted, I don't know if this is just like, it wasn't like thought out, but not anyone could just go, you know? And that was from the influence of Jeremy and JP in a way. Like, no, like, you can't just roll up here and shred this. Like, you know, you got to put in work. You got to, the whole deal. And so there's definitely like a locals only vibe to it, which is awesome in my opinion, especially for the time. There was like, we always had to kick people out and whatnot. We didn't allow skiers and the whole thing. But it was a cool time in my snowboard. I really enjoyed being there. Again, being up in the mountains, building things, seeing it to the end, then watching other people shred it and filming. It also, I think, helped the snowboard community here a lot to just get ready for the winter and get together. And, I mean, Dan Breezy would come up there and Stevie Bell and so many people came up there to shred, which was cool because at that point, like, we were still at early stages, like flow riders or whatever. So to have these pros come up and shred with us was super cool. And
another thing to run back to kind of talking about the locals only vibe. If you look at, you know, take BMX jumps, for example. I went with Seth Hewitt to watch these guys ride these trails here. And essentially you shovel for, you know, everybody shovels before they ride. And then when everybody's done shoveling, then it's like, okay, we're going to ride this thing. And I think that for the average snowboarder, you show up to a park, it's done, they strap in, they go down the park. Now, for these DIY spaces, there's a lot of people that are like, I got vibed out there, I did. And that's from their experience, it makes sense. You have every right to be upset if you got vibed out at a spot like that. But from your perspective, or from people, like I welded a lot of the rails, but you guys would go up months prior and be building things and clearing brush and, you know, making this place snowboardable and putting in hours and hours of effort, shoveling all the lips, building everything. And then all of a sudden it's time to snowboard. Everybody wants to show up and not even lift a shovel. And so like that aspect of like kind of locals only, like we built this shit, like this extremely entitled. I think every generation becomes more and more entitled as we evolve, but it shows up and they're like, this is fucking bullshit, I can't ride. It's like, well, dog, if you just came and picked up a shovel, you could ride as much as you want. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. I think it also, at that time, like, shaped a lot of snowboarders, you know, to show them work ethic. And also building your own stuff, at least for me, I'm not good at rolling up on something that I don't really have my hands on, you know, and just being like, all good, you know, especially filming in the streets when it's like you didn't just roll up and and hit the rail and like didn't work. You know, you knew what the lip looked like, and that's a lot of what you're going to with talking about with Seth and BMX and dirt jumps is you really got to feel what you're doing and put in the work. So you're staring at it and you know how it works. You know, going to the bone zone when you would actually help people and teach people to pick up a shovel and build something yourself, it went a long ways, and they felt like they were actually a part of it, and that was important. And I still to this day think that people need to put in the work and show up, you know, and not just show up to ride or show up to even anything really in life. It's about like putting in the work and starting at the ground level and learning from your peers. And, you know, JP, Jeremy, Seth specifically too, those guys really, really taught me how to, dude, me and you were prospects. I don't remember, but like we were prospects and it was tough, dude. It's like you wouldn't even snowboard all day. Just make you shovel, you know, make you move shit around.
They give you guys prospect patches and all that?
I got one.
I never got my patch, I don't think. Did I? I don't know. I don't remember.
It was like hard. When I say it was hard, it was like you wanted to ride, you know, or like but really it taught you like a longer lesson, you know, of how to put in the work and be patient and yeah. So the Bone Zone was really cool that way, and we had some really fun features up there, and it was a good way to start the season filming, you know, to kind of get the flow of things. So it was a fun place, and I miss it a lot, and definitely have thought about starting a secret one day again, you know, because I like this. Eventually it turned into, we had to move to Brighton because of the Forest Service, and it became like a public thing, which is awesome because I really wanted it to become something with even a rope tow and free and the whole deal preseason. But it's kind of cool to have something like secretive like that and put in the work in the summer and see it evolve. So
I got a Patreon question for you.
Yeah.
And once again, our Patreon members, we want to say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. We could not do this without you guys, and we really appreciate it. This is from
appreciation.
Yeah, muchas gracias. Magic Narwhal. He is he sends us a lot of questions. He's a good Patreon member. What gets you most frothed?
What was his name?
Magic Narwhal.
Magic Narwhal. Great question. I think what gets me most frothed is, you know, probably being in the mountains with my friends, period. Just, I love nowadays backcountry snowboarding, touring, skinning, and that process of climbing the mountain with your buds, shredding down, that's on a good powder day. Nothing gets me more stoked than that, probably.
Solid answer.
Great answer. I like going up just as much as going down lately. I just started. I'm new to the game.
Yeah, it's quality over quantity. That's how I look at splitboarding. You know, it's you're taking it all in from the start to the end. So
it's a good time.
Beautiful. Well, I think it might be time to segue into one of our favorite segments, which is
Welcome to the Liquid Death.
Death. Spinning wheel of death.
I'll tell you what, buds, I have not been crushing as many Licky D's
I haven't either.
as I
I've been drinking
normally
that
do.
pub beer, but damn, this Liquid Death is good.
I'll tell you, on a nice, hot day, nothing goes down like a Liquid Death.
I agree.
It's just beautiful. You're getting hydrated. You're supporting a great brand. And you're not contributing to the plastic waste that's going on.
Yeah, 10% of they donate 10% of every sale to the death of plastic and helping pollution.
You're supporting a good cause. You're getting hydrated. And another good thing, you're not going to get a DUI. You can drink it if you're pregnant. And when you're driving around drinking one of these, you kind of look like an alcoholic because people think you're drinking in the middle of the day. So that's a huge plus.
That's a huge
as far
plus.
as I'm concerned. Now, if you want to support the Bomb Hole and also get yourself some Liquid Death, head on over to liquiddeath.com/bombhole. You'll get yourself a couple of koozies. We get a little support and just a great way to support the show and also stay hydrated. So this week on the Liquid Death Spinning Wheel of Death, we have some great options. Buds wrote these. His handwriting is horrific.
I might have to read it for you.
So we might need to, it's like a
need
different language.
You might need a cipher.
Dude.
We'll face it towards you so you can.
I can't read my handwriting. What are you talking about, dude?
Dude, after seeing Bob get the shot collar to the neck, I was honestly terrified of this thing.
Well, I'm going to hold the bottom and then just give it a big old spin.
Oh, I don't get to see it.
No.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't read what I wrote on there anyways.
So just rip it, huh?
Rip it. Good spin. Good spin. Big money. Blind foot race.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do, for this week's episode, we're going to do a blindfolded foot race.
You're going to race Chris. Both of you blind.
We thought of this morning.
No, what's great is I'm literally in top physical condition.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
Shout
can
out to
you
the sec.
can you do it blind?
Yeah.
Yeah. Each of you will have someone to help guide you with sound.
Damn, that's heavy.
Buds, you going to be my ears?
I'll be your ears, and
Okay.
we're going to get Drake or
Okay.
Tucker to be your ears.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. All right. Let's head outside and do
Let's
this.
go outside.
3, 2, 1, go! Kicked his ass. What happened? You toppled him. What? You went twice his ass. Dude, I felt like I was gonna fall over. We got a win. A huge win. It's a big win.
So, Alex, why don't you explain what happened out there in the foot race, blindfolded?
I went in full confidence
He said that I was going to lose.
and absolutely blew it.
You kind of unraveled out there.
Yeah.
I committed to a full sprint, full athlete, back straight, just kind of like long strides. He looked like he was like stepping through a puddle for the entire, like he was going to run into a wall the whole time.
Yeah.
We'll have to zoom in and actually like go a slow-mo frame by frame because it was almost like, yeah, you were like walking through mud or you didn't want to get the bottom of your pants wet or something.
You got him you went twice as fast.
You looked like you were about 85
I'll
years
give it
old.
to you. You absolutely annihilated me. But in my defense, not that you didn't have this factor, but I've felt vertigo. Okay,
Okay.
I couldn't see shit, dude.
You felt vertigo.
Dude, I literally like. You think you know where you're running to, but you don't.
You don't.
I'll
And
tell you
you're
what,
running.
this
Like
is
it's
a-
different if you're walking.
It's a trust
You know?
exercise. Me and Buds.
He trusted where my voice was, and he knows I'm not going to let him run
Yeah.
into a pothole or a trip into a Sprinter van. Or
Here at the
something.
bomb hole, we're all about trust.
You know what though? I needed to boost your ego, so I kind of
Absolutely. I needed a win. I needed that bad. I was 0-2 in the last foot races. Now I'm riding high. The kid's back.
Yeah, that's a good one though. You should, next time, maybe some obstacles. That would really throw
Like
it
blindfolded parkour.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
Blindfolded parkour. That sounds great. New sport.
Okay, let's get into a fan favorite. Good old fashioned hot takes. We like to always start with who is the MJ of snowboarding, both male and female, or you can replace that with GOAT if you don't like the MJ take.
Oh, wow. Okay. MJ of snowboarding. I'm going to have a multifaceted answer. So
Go ahead.
I obviously later in my years, I love Craig Kelly. I'm a big fan. RIP. Noah Slasnick, people like that. But for my generation and for me personally, it's Jeremy Jones is the MJ of snowboarding. He did it all, backcountry, rails, the whole deal. Also just a great human, family man, he's gnarly but caring, So Jeremy, but today I have another answer.
Oh, here we go. So you get a 3-part answer.
Yes, we can talk about this, but I'm going to say Pat Moore. Pat Moore is...
Wait, you just flipped off of Jeremy onto Pat?
He said, I think he's doing different time.
Yeah,
eras.
like I kind of
okay.
went Craig Kelly, because
You're just going to name everyone that ever inspired you over the past 30 years, 25
Let's
years?
hear why, though. I want to hear the reasons.
well, Pat Moore, he's done it a long time, and he's an amazing snowboarder. He's savage in the backcountry. He's done rails. He's done it all, but he just continues. He gives back to snowboarding heavily, which I really appreciate. He does the risk maturity classes at Baldface to help, people in the industry get educated in the backcountry. He has the methodology contest and donates those funds to getting kids into snowboarding. He pours his heart and soul into snowboarding. He's also really good at it. And so to me, he's the MJ currently of snowboarding.
I love that.
And I think Pat Moore is just a really good person. So, yeah, Pat Moore. And then female, I'll just say MFR.
Marie Francois?
Yeah.
Yeah, great answer.
She's dope.
Okay. If you had a Hollywood actor play your role in life, who would it be?
Owen Wilson, Wedding Crashers, or Meet the Parents. You know how he's like the boyfriend or whatever.
I think that's the wrong answer.
I think that's the wrong answer too.
I'm going D. Schneider.
He's not a Hollywood actor.
He probably lives in Hollywood.
You did make a whatever that is, like a side
Change
by
that
side.
tape. Look like when you used to have your long hair, you looked like D. Schneider.
Yeah.
I'm going Stewie, Family Guy. Sorry.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I'd let him play your role.
Yeah. The one thing with D. Schneider really quick is that I only have one karaoke song, and it's Twisted Sister, I Want to Rock. But
You have that?
But I replace rock with froth.
Oh, okay.
Froth.
I want a froth.
Okay, I hate that. No, that's great.
I hate that. That's a hard voice
I'll
to
tell you,
get,
you-
karaoke, though. Wow.
You go Halloween costume, you throw on the fucking wig, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna win Halloween. If you go, Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
Have you done that yet?
No.
You're welcome.
That's a crazy
thank you.
costume, too.
That's a good one.
Please do that this Halloween.
Yeah.
We need that. Just don't be so selfish. Do it for us. So, think about the people that need that Halloween
It's a
costume.
wild outfit.
Copy that.
Okay. We talk about it a lot in the show. The lift line, there's a lot of people that like to flex the good old-fashioned beaver slap. Now, what's your take on slapping a little beeve in the lift line with your snowboard?
I do it, but not out of look at me. Just straight up like most people, get snow off your deck.
It's a soft slap?
Soft slap.
Kind of a tasteful beaver slap. If you
Yeah,
will.
tasteful
Okay.
beaver slap. I'm usually shredding absurdly deep neige snow for layman's.
It's French for snow.
Usually like
Is
froth.
that French for snow?
Yeah, neige means snow.
That's where that
in
came
French.
from.
Yeah, deep neige. I'm usually like frothing. So I got to get the fresh off my deck.
Okay, where's trended snowboarding? What do you got?
Rolled up pants over the boots, followed by crowded resorts.
Okay.
But I like that people are going out. It's just crowded.
Just hard to deal with, huh?
Yeah.
Now, earlier you mentioned risk maturity class, which is kind of a avalanche mitigation, backcountry safety, however you want to call it. Now, I know that you have been in the Avalanche with Jeremy Jones. You were a part of that day where he almost lost his life. We've covered that in detail on Seth Hewitt's episode, Jeremy Jones's episode. I don't think we need to go through the whole story of that. But since then, you've gotten done tons of risk mitigation classes. I guess what I'm asking is what was your biggest takeaway from that experience, and what did you learn?
Yeah, that day with Jeremy, Seth, the squad was hands down the worst day of my life. Worst day of my life, but learned the most. Never ever want to go through anything like that again. Seeing, and the story. Seth told it perfectly, and he relayed it perfectly. But it was by far the worst day, and to see your childhood idol, hero, best friend almost die is will change you as a person. And from that day on, first of all, from that day, I learned a lot about myself and how to deal with something like that, and did my best. It when you're in that moment, it really you really shine through your true colors, and we had a really good crew, and no one died. So we made it out alive, and we made bad decisions and we made good decisions. And what I took from that is with my snowboarding, going from riding rails and filming parts and things like that, more street focused, I guess, is the evolution is I want to ride in the backcountry. That's where my personal progression of snowboarding is going. I like adventuring in the mountains, and that I'm addicted to it, honestly. It's like I like reading maps and exploring new zones and nature and getting out there, and I like the effort you have to put in for it, and then the benefit of surfing the earth. But to answer your question, since I had Avalanche education before that, but it's almost never ending. You constantly need to educate yourself going into the backcountry, and you're constantly learning what to have, how to react, everything. Read terrain, read snow conditions, be prepared, all these things. And that day has pushed me to do that consistently. And, started out with the next thing I did was the risk maturity course at Baldface that Jeff Pensiero and Pat Moore put on, which is amazing because it's really geared towards what we like to do. And I learned a lot from that, and I've gone 3 years now. I didn't go last year because of COVID, but yeah, 3 years, and every time, you're just constantly learning. And then I also, got in and I did a woofer class, wilderness first aid. I did WUFA, but there's woofer, wilderness first aid responder. I want to do that one next, but learning how to handle injuries and those things, because when that happened to Jeremy, I really didn't know how to assess him. He was, I'll swear, but he was fucked up, and I didn't, I knew he had broken legs and stuff, which, you could splint and things, but bleeding internally, whatever it may be, there's major things that could be happening. And so to take the time to learn those trades makes you more confident in the backcountry, and also makes you have better decision making. And also crew is huge in these types of things. And we had a good crew that day, and I still continue to, like, when I go in the backcountry, I have a crew, and they're people that know what they're doing. They're people that have education and you trust with your life because you need to. And we're all doing it for fun, but it can get serious really fast. So
the people thinking about backcountry riding, getting familiar, they got a split board, they want to get out there. What advice do you have for those people?
Start small. I think, split boarding at the resort, even, learning your gear, then, first of all, getting education, avalanche education, 100%, going to a course and learning from professionals how to read snow reports, everything that goes into going out before the day for avalanche mitigation and knowing what you're getting into. I see a lot of people now getting into split boarding and things that, I'm going to say this might trigger some people that might not know how to snowboard that well.
Yeah.
And
schema.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, that can be a factor out there, if you don't know how to ski or snowboard that well, and you're out and you climb to the top of a mountain, because it's not that hard to climb to the top of the mountain if you got energy, but then they don't really know how to navigate terrain, or they don't know that there's riding above you and you're climbing up or whatever. So really, like, first learning how to ride your snowboard or skis, and then avalanche, and then really your gear. Mm-hmm. Making sure you have the right gear, knowing how to use it, practicing, and constantly evolving that stuff. Because, like I said, it really is never ending. You never have, you're never I've got it so dialed that, it just always learning and taking it in.
One thing I'd like to add to that is a lot of times when you're snowboarding, a big indicator I see, especially around the resort, is people look and they say, oh, there's tracks on that. That's safe, right? That's a huge... Now, the main effect of when you go to an avalanche course is it scares the shit out of you. Yeah. And you are just you really start tiptoeing around with extreme caution around the mountains, which is what we need. Less people dying, less people getting buried, and take a goddamn course.
Yeah, and I feel super lucky because before Jeremy's, I was out in the backcountry a lot, Brighton, building jumps, and I've got a few stories. I've gotten in a couple avalanches that, buried me partially, and it was all fun and games, whatever, but it could have been really serious. And I was naive for a long time to, I got a transceiver, I'm good, let's just go out. But, Jeremy's that day, I mean, dude, you never want to see that or hear that or be a part of that in person. I can guarantee you that. It is. I mean, the next day I went to the hospital to visit him, and I couldn't stop crying when I was talking to him, and he was just like, dude, you're okay. And I wasn't okay. I was like, man, I should have been more knowledgeable and made better decisions, because I was a factor in why that happened, whether, we were all in it, but I made the decision to go ride that thing, and he came along and we talked about it, and it was on me too, and so it was a big day for me to suck down, and from there, you know, I'm super happy that he's alive and the other people involved. But I really have taken it more seriously, and it's a good thing. And it does scare you, and I've backed down many times now. Been like, this isn't the day, you know, or I've had to speak up in a crowd of people that I might not know and say, no, I'm not comfortable with this or whatever. And other people have with me, and now I know how to take that, you know, and say like, oh, this person's not comfortable. I might even be more comfortable, you know, but having that experience, because but in the end, it's made me more confident in what I want to do, you know, and exploring the mountains and not give up and not be like, oh, it was the worst thing ever. Like, I don't ever want to do that again. You know, it's just made me want to be more proficient and better at it, you know.
Now, I have a 2-part question. A, why did you make the switch from park kid, riding handrail kid, street kid, to full-blown backcountry granola eater with a Sprinter van? And part 2 of my question is, do you think you turned your back on the cold hard steel?
Great question. I haven't turned my back on the cold steel. I got out this last winter with Mikey, and Jordan Mendenhall was there. Super sick. And we were grinding a picnic table. I did hit the handrail. I love jibbing. I like going to Woodward. I love cruising the park. My personal progression, it kind of goes in a couple different ways, because I love mountain biking and I love being physical and exercise, and I like to be healthy as much as I can. And splitboarding, backcountry snowboarding involves a lot of that. It takes a lot of effort. You know, like I was telling you, quality over quantity. You have to work hard to get that one run, but that one run means more to you than just lapping the resort. And I love lapping the resort with my friends, but these days it's just getting so crowded, and the red snake going up the canyon, the whole deal, you know, of that process. And splitboarding is that escape where you can take in the environment, and I love the process of getting ready for it. My bag packed, lunch and water and your gear, and double check, waking up early, and yeah, that one run that you take, it just means more. And I also, like I was saying, I like the exploration part of it. And with street snowboarding, that used to be a thing, honestly. You know, to this day, I'll never stop looking for spots. I'm constantly, like, I'm never going to hit it probably, but I love, you know, give Dustbox my phone number. I got some photos, man, you know. But I like the exploration of splitboarding, and I want to continue to do that. And it's something I can do with my girlfriend, and yeah. So to me, it's kind of the future for me personally.
Solid answer. Now, I wanted to kind of dive into another topic here of, we'll call this topic life shakeups, because you made some major changes in your life, where you were with Burton as a rider, all the way from rep rider to pro team to Froth Stoker International. I don't know what that job title is. Nobody does. Froth International spreader to team manager. And Burton was your little comfort nest egg. And then you ended up moving, which we'll get into, to WNDR Alpine, which is an awesome, sustainable story. And then all while that's happening, you went through a divorce. And I just kind of want to kind of like, you know, basically talk about, you know, that whole process of your life and the transition there.
Yeah. So Burton definitely was, it's been home for me for the last 12 years. I got, you know, officially signed to Burton when I was like 21, and until this May, I've been with Burton. And whether that was a pro rider, like you said, or working for them, team manager, that was home and my family. And you know what? I can't give enough love to Burton for that. I mean, Jake, the whole family, George, Tim, Taylor, Donna, and also just like the people involved, JG and all these people that work there have shaped who I am and put a roof over my head. And I mean, I'm so grateful for Burton, because sometimes you can look at things in a negative way, but I don't. I'm looking at it like, dang, I got to work and ride for Burton Snowboards for 12 years. Like, hell yeah, that's so sick. I had so many amazing experiences, built so many friendships and relationships. Like, I love everyone there, still to this day. And ended when we can talk about it, but when I got the new job, it was cool because I feel like I ended that relationship for now at a good point. You know, there was no animosity or anything. I just needed a change in my life and my career and had a cool opportunity. But yeah, last year, all of us went through a tough time during COVID, everyone. And me personally, it was one of those years where just things kept piling on. COVID, furloughed from Burton, no job. Me and Trevor started Blue Collar Boys, cleaning gutters and doing whatever, which was awesome. But that ended in a divorce from my 10-year relationship of my wife at the time, which was really hard. And also another mutual agreement.
Yeah.
But nothing easy to go through, you know, and it's hard when you've spent that much time with someone and you care for them, and I still care for her, and we have a good relationship, but it's just not meant to be, you know, and people change and, you know, things happen, but I gave it my all, and so did she, and we kind of just came down to, like, this isn't working, and that's okay. We need to move on, but it was not easy. And then at the same point, I mean, I was getting audited by the IRS. I'm still getting audited. But, yeah, it was a tough year, you know. But I was looking for some major changes, and I ended up being a team manager at Burton after I got furloughed alongside Pat Dodge. And that was a really cool experience. I loved working with that crew. I got to go on backcountry shoots and go on street missions again, which was super fun, and help – you know, some of those riders log clips and whatnot. So that was rad. But the job for me kind of had it had a ceiling. Like, I just, where would I go from here? I like what I'm doing, but as you know, I like challenges and want to push myself.
So I personally think the story of Wonder is super interesting. You should explain, like, what they are, who owns them, and what you guys do.
Yeah. So I transitioned from Burton to WNDR Alpine, and they're a Salt Lake City-based company. Super dope. It's been a really cool experience to get involved with a company like this, especially from Salt Lake. I'll break down what WNDR is. It's kind of crazy because it's a lot of science and things like that. We're reinventing materials, algae-based. It's super cool, and it's a much bigger picture than just skis and snowboards. So, yeah, WNDR Alpine is owned by Checker Spot, and they're the same thing. It's just the brand of Checker Spot. Checker Spot is based in Alameda, California, in Oakland. It's a biotech company, and they are revolutionizing bioengineering and reinventing the way that we look at materials and how they're made and used in products. And it's super, super cool. And honestly, it's taken some time for me to wrap my head around it. And I'm still pretty new. You know, I started in May, but they're able to take microalgae, which is not macroalgae, like seaweed and stuff like that. It's not that. It's microbes. So, for instance, found in drains, or there's hundreds of different strains of microbes, and doctor this stuff up and make an oil. And most products nowadays are made out of oil. Pretty much everything is made out of oil, crude oil, petroleum. And so microalgae, we're able to make it into an oil, and this oil can be made into a polymer. And that's what we're using in the skis and snowboards, is we're pouring in the PU sidewalls, cast sidewalls. We're using it for foam, like stringers and things like that in the skis and snowboards. And it's fully renewable. But the bigger picture is to, like, change how people make products with materials and not sacrifice performance for sustainability. And a lot of people think of sustainability as, you think it's like eco-sustainable, that you're sacrificing performance. And with this is not the case. Maybe I should show some stuff.
Oh, we got a little show and tell going.
Yeah,
Classic.
a little show and tell.
Kid loves show and tell.
Oh, here we go. Let's hit some show and tell.
So this is a cast sidewall.
Yeah.
These are like prototypes though. But you know, you can see it's like flexy, bendy. These ones are hard. But this is made out of microalgae, just straight up fermentation. They take little tiny microalgae microbes, feed them sugar, kind of like beer, ferment it.
They get shit faced.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Ferment it, and it grows into like a paste, and then they squeeze that, kind of like olive oil or anything, and get an oil out of it. These oils, this is just really one strain of oil, and there's hundreds that could be made. And so, you know, for people to adopt this and put it in other products is really what we want to do. And so with skiing and snowboarding, it's a way to show that it's a performance enhancement, because you can change the density, you can change a lot of things where when we're building products nowadays, we're limited to what we can buy. We're all using the same stuff, essentially.
Well, also explain why the glues and the sidewalls on an average snowboard are bad for the environment comparatively.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah, in snowboards and skis, sidewalls, you know, the resin, everything from, you know, epoxy and all these things, it's bad for the environment because it is made from crude oil.
Mm-hmm.
So anything pretty much plastic these days is made from crude oil. And that's what we're developing right now, is changing the way that we are making materials out of a renewable resource. And we're putting them in skis and snowboards right now, but we're working on using it as a wicking material. We're working on using it as a food, for food. You can use it for food. You can eat it. There's kind of the sky's the limit, but with us, we're really using it to show our products and performance, that they are performance enhancements, you know, and hopefully people will adopt it, you know, and we can use it in other brands and things like this. But Wonder Alpine's been a really cool project for me, because I'm starting the snowboard side of things, because they've been making skis. So them being backcountry focused, it's been cool because I've been able to develop split boards. Just went to Mount Hood. I made 4 snowboards with the guidance of some people, but I've literally made them myself. And learning that process is amazing. And building something and trying it. And also, you know, so we have like material science, we have fabrication, and we're taking all these things and putting them together to develop the best products we can with materials that are
sustainable.
Sustainable is like the word I like to use, but it's more than that, you know? So
You guys are reinventing the wheel and
you're growing it in a lab instead of taking crude oil out of the ground and then creating greenhouse gases like it does. And
honestly, it's been really cool and overwhelming in ways, because it was so above my head for a minute. It sounds simple, but really, like, the sky's the limit with this stuff, you know? And so I'm trying to just hone in on making the best snowboards I can.
Yeah.
And I'll come out with those next year. And we're taking our time to work on those so that we can perfect them and really come out with a good product and not rush it. So I've been testing and developing a lot of stuff, trying different types of materials, layups, the whole nine. And it's a fun project and really, really cool opportunity for me. And that's where I was saying, like, you know, I have this opportunity now. It's kind of a glass ceiling where, like, I can, like, break through, and
the sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit, you know? So, yeah, it's been rad. Yeah, this is one of our prototypes. I just painted these graphics. They're just prototype graphics. But this sidewall's all our cast urethane PU sidewall. And then there's foam stringers all made out of microalgae. And there's a split board back there. But, yeah, we pour it into the channels, and that's kind of a new thing. So, because most people, you buy sidewalls and then
they come separately, and they put them all together. Yeah, there's a lot of, the one thing I think is really cool too is I always feel like a company is comprised of who works for it. Now, Sturbins, who's the GM, he is the guy we go camping with, hang out with. He's awesome. You got Mouse, who came up on the show. He's a fabricator.
Yeah.
Pep Fujas seems like the man. I don't know him well, but I checked out the offices. Actually, when we were looking for a podcast space, I went down to where you guys' zone is and checked it out. and just got to see everything. And it's just cool seeing people make boards here in Utah. Then they got the marketing office, and it's just seems like it fills a good void for what people are looking for in the snowboard world.
Yeah, and like you said, we're small right now, you know, and we're just starting out. But one of the coolest things has been not only working with friends and people I know. We have a great crew down there and in Salt Lake building something amazing, but we're working with scientists, which I never thought in my career I'd be working with, like legit scientists who are making microalgae into material, you know, and that's been really cool. My first day on the job, I went to San Francisco or to Oakland, Alameda, and went to the lab and saw how they do this, and it is mind blowing. And it's also just really eye opening. The biggest thing is adoption. You know, we have crude oil, petroleum that's running everything right now because of money and all that, but that's a limited resource. And so that's what's really rad about what we're doing is it does have a bigger picture in the end. And we're using skis and snowboards to tell that story right now, but I would love to see it become something that is normal, you know, and adopted in other products, which would be awesome. And yeah, that experience was cool to go see that. And I learned a lot. I'm still learning a lot about it. And yeah, microalgae for the win on that one. It's cool shit. And getting these people together, innovators, thinkers, it really ties back to where I come from. It's just like trying things and going for it. And
it's a great place to throw shit at a wall and see what sticks.
Yeah. Like, and we constantly do that, you know? So it's a really, really cool opportunity and job for me right now.
Do you make top sheets out of microalgae?
Working on it, yeah.
It seems like that's like a plastic.
We're not right now, but it's definitely like a topic.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Right now we're trying to figure out some ways to make boot plates and skis, which are where the bindings mount.
Okay.
There's a bunch of stuff we're working on, but it just takes time.
Yeah.
You know, it takes time for developing and like I said, this isn't at a mass scale yet. So that's kind of how it's not that we're trying, you know, we want to get to a mass scale, but we have to figure out how to do this on our own so we can show people. Because if you're just shopping around oil saying like, look, you can do whatever with it, but not actually have physical product.
Yeah, you need the products.
You need to see it.
You need to see the applications in work in real life situations.
Yeah, and also show that they're durable and, you know, you can have performance without sacrificing. So our thing's algae and petroleum out. But, yeah, it's going to be a fun road to go down. And like I said, I'm just starting, but got some boards made, been testing them, went to Hood, and
cool.
And, yeah.
Well, I think we should change gears because we've been cranking away. Couple more topics just before we wrap this thing up. One thing I think is really cool, you know, we touched briefly, you went through a divorce with your 10-year relationship with Dee. She's a sweetheart. Now, no hard feelings, but, you know, it seemed like your Burton was your comfort zone. You kind of, and then all of a sudden, all these life shakeups happen. You're out of your comfort zone, new job, totally different set of circumstances. And then you found your new partner, Elle, who's a complete sweetheart as well. She rules, and it's just kind of cool how that worked out, I feel like, right?
Yeah, and again, ties back to putting good energy out there, you know, and trying in your darkest of times, even just thinking positively and trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, Elle is the baddest. Elle is the best person in the world. Literally, like it's amazing that we've reconnected. I grew up with her when I was younger. We were friends from a young age, and then I didn't talk to her for like 10 years.
Gotta give her a quick air horn. I was on the wrong soundboard. Sorry about that.
You were quick on that. That was good.
Love you, Elle. She's more badass than me, that's for sure. But yeah, I didn't talk to her for a really, 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 really long time, like 10 plus years. And when I was going through the hard time with the divorce and job loss, you know, and all these things, she ended up just randomly reaching out to me and just saying hi. And I hadn't talked to her in a long time. And we connected, and it's been a year now of we ended up getting together, and she's an amazing musician. She just released an album. You guys should check it out.
She's incredible. She's gonna like blow the doors off.
Yeah,
type
she's
music.
Super talented person. Not only musically, but art, and she's a really good snowboarder, just an amazing person, caring. She's been so supportive of me, which is I'm really grateful for. And, you know, it's just cool because you know, Trevor actually says to me the other day, he's like, you deserve Elle, you know, and it felt good for him to say that because it's like, I do feel really good with her, you know. And
she seems like your soulmate kind of person.
Yeah, it's like soulmate type shit. And so that's cool. But check her album out. It's called Elle and the Echo. She just released it. She's an amazing human, and I love her. So shout out to Elle. But yeah, those times when you're going through something hard and you don't know what the end is just try to find the positive. And honestly, with Elle, it's crazy because I don't know, just putting that energy out there. Like, what do you want? Like, what are you dreaming? You know, and it could have been her. Like, I was thinking about her, you know, but she just kind of came out of the woodwork in a way, you know, and it's just like, really, right now, this is crazy. I just got a divorce and I'm going through a hard time, and I do feel.
Seemed like a bit of a divine intervention there.
Yeah, your darkest moment can actually turn on you and become the right moment. The divorce happened for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
And there she was.
Yeah, she lives with me now, and we spend a ton of time together, and it's been an amazing transition for me to have that person in my life, you know, that's supportive, and we like a lot of the same things, and you know, so it's I'm super grateful for her.
Beautiful. Do you want to throw any thank yous out?
Yeah, thank you guys. First and foremost, Chris,
appreciate it.
Thank you for all you've done for me and Freedom Frontier and being a good friend. Thank all my good homies. You know who you are. Parents, first and foremost. They're the rock. Elle, thank you. And then thanks to Matt and the crew at WNDR Alpine for giving me a new opportunity. I'm really stoked on that. It's a new beginning, and I'm learning a lot, and they're being patient with me, you know, and so that's cool. And thanks to the snowboard community. I wouldn't be here without everyone that has supported me ever, you know, and Jeremy specifically. Like, he really gave me my start and has always had my back to this day. We work out with him a couple times a week, and he's still like a huge inspiration for me to this day. So, yeah, thank you guys, and much love.
One last little nugget from the man you just spoke of, from Mr. Jeremy Jones himself. Here we go.
What it is, the bomb hole. Al, lipstick, double A the same way. The Froth puppy, not my favorite. But I love you. I love it. It suits you. Hey, don't even have a question. I just wanted to call and let you know, let everyone know listening, how much I respect you, how much you leveled up. You were my kind of son a little bit, and you kind of became my little brother. And then you're my homie right next to me. We've almost died together a few times. Mad respect, dude. I love you to pieces. I got to keep this at 45 seconds. Peace.
Fuck, dude.
That was nice.
I wasn't trying to cry on this show. Oh, dude.
Good man right there. Jay Jones.
Oh, dude. I love that guy so much. It's just like one of those things that you're like, as a kid, he was just such a superhero. And for him to like say that right now, it's crazy. I can't believe I'm crying right now.
That's all right. We cry all the time on this show.
Yeah, this is a safe place, we like to say.
He's like...
You're making me tear up just looking at you,
he's
dog.
like the fucking... He's so gnarly, dude. He's the sickest dude ever, you know? So it's cool. I just can't believe that I'm like friends with him, you know? And, yeah, I'll stop crying. Ugh. Yeah, he's
an amazing human.
He's... Yeah, man, he is like a brother to me, you know? The brother I never had. And for it to be Jeremy Jones is pretty crazy, man, you know? So thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate that. And can't wait to continue living this life, ripping by your side. So.
What's up? He doesn't like the Froth puppy nickname?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, he's not. He's a cold steel.
Yeah.
Till he dies, dude.
He loves the steel.
He does have a love affair with the steel that goes deep.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say to you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. To everybody that's listened to the show, bought a piece of merch, supported the Patreon. Thank you guys. And for the outro song this week, we're going to leave you with one of Elle's beautiful songs off her album.
Sick.
We appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week. Over and out from the bomb hole.
Thank you.
I got fire in my soul. I got fire in my soul. I may come off as a mess, that's me at my best. I got fire, hellfire in my soul. Life is too damn short, keep on crying. Desert's too fucking hot, and you're still trying. I loved you with all I had, all I got was fucking mad. And I got fire, hellfire in my soul. I got fire in my soul. I got good green smoke in my bowl. I'm in my mind, you and me got a back for SMT. I got fire, hellfire in my soul. I got fire in my soul. I got fire in my soul. When I finally had enough, packed my shit, acted tough, said bye.